Welcome everybody to episode 73 of the ADV podcasts, and we've got a very serious but also hilarious episode for you today.
Yeah, if you guys like hip-hop, Chinese state-run hip-hop, we're never running out.
No.
They constantly make it, even though we tell them not to.
They don't learn their lesson, do they?
Well, for their sake, what I like to give them advice and say, don't do it, because it makes me cringe and I feel like it makes them look bad. And I don't know why I'm trying to defend them and give them advice.
Yeah.
Because it gives us material.
Yeah, just keep it coming. Anyway, let's jump and saunter and whatever else, swim into what's new. Let's do it. So what's new is when we talk about what's new with regards to China. We've got a couple of things here. Show you a little something, which actually isn't all that new.
From the subreddit, yeah.
This is from our subreddit. Thank you guys for your contributions. It's always fun. Go check it out. ADV podcasts. ADVChina. So
yeah.
reddit.com/r/ADVChina.
Yeah.
Okay. What you see, for those of you listening at home, is, of course, you can see the entrance to the Forbidden City there, Tiananmen Square. And there is a guy spraying a green substance on the grass to make it green. Now, I don't know about you, but I came across this many years ago in China. What would happen is, whenever there was going to be like an official coming into town, they would have those trucks that normally spray water, and they would have a guy basically spraying the like brown grass on the side of the roads green.
Where were you? Because I'll tell my story after.
Okay. I was the first time I saw it was in a small little town when I was doing a motorcycle trip out of Shenzhen. So it was in Guangdong. It was, what the hell's the name of that place? It'll come back to me. I'll tell you. You know the one where you just go through Longmen and all that, and then you get to, there's like a town where we used to always stay, and then you turn left.
Oh, yeah.
You know that one? What the hell's that called? Yeah.
It's not, instead of going to Jiangxi, but you're going to,
Yeah,
like Ruyuan.
yeah, exactly. To
Ruyuan.
and then you go up into Hunan.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever the case. So I asked my Chinese colleagues and friends, what the hell's going on? Why are they spray painting the grass green? And they were like, no, it's special nutrients that they're putting in the soil.
I got that.
That's what they told me. No, it's a special
I didn't
kind
know
of...
you ran into the same thing.
Yeah, special kind of fertilizer, which is good for the grass. It just so happens that it's green and turns the grass green. Well, yeah, what's your story?
So I was in Ardos.
Qingyuan is.
Oh, yeah, Qingyuan.
It's
Yeah,
Qingyuan.
Qingyuan.
I think it was Qingyuan.
It is, yeah. I was in Ardos, which is in Inner Mongolia, and I went over there to see the Kangbash, like the ghost town.
Right.
And I had a local friend there, who took us around in his Land Cruiser or whatever. And he was going to show us like the Genghis Khan mausoleum and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, when we got to the center, I wanted to see the richest place in China. You know, it's the richest per capita place in China, right? Average salary is like $100,000 or something, like outlandishly higher than anywhere in China.
Is that
but
because of the coal deposits?
The rare earths.
Oh, rare earths, yeah.
But there's only like 100 or 200,000 people there,
Right.
so you know, per capita, yes. But anyway, it's like these like the rare earth families basically living there. So they make these beautiful architectural buildings that hire architects from around the world. But it's tiny. It's like this little small place that they put all this money into.
Yeah.
And obviously it's in the middle of a desert, right? But they have to make it look nice. And all over the place, I saw these guys walking around outside the government buildings, spraying the brown grass green.
Yeah.
And I was like, are you kidding me? And then not only that, they were pumping massive amounts of water to turn swaths of the desert green, like just wasting water just because it was around government buildings.
Yeah.
But then when in places, obviously it didn't work, they were literally spraying it with spray paint. And I asked my friend, he's like, oh, it's got fertilizer in it. And I was like, bullshit.
Yeah.
It's literally
just
paint.
I know, absolute bullshit, because correct us if we're wrong here, but every time I've seen fertilizer in any kind of way, it's either like brown or like a little bit of white, nitrate or whatever. But, I've never seen it like green, that it actually paints the grass green.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Anyway, so we just thought we'd show that, and we got a couple of stories. Anyway, you can see behind us there, quotations from Chairman Ryan.
A little throwback.
Yeah, for those of you who missed last week, I discovered that Xi Jinping's English name is Ryan.
It really messed me up.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. We had a whole lot of those Saving Private Ryan
memes,
and it had like Xi Jinping's face and all that stuff.
A lot of good memes. Thank you guys for contributing.
Yeah, it was
Appreciate
great.
it.
All right. So what else we have here in What's New is coming up.
Coming right up on fake bricks.
Yeah, let's take a look at what's going on in the background here. What's going on here? You want to explain to the people at home what's happening?
Well, we always make a joke about fake bricks.
Right.
but that's actually when we were talking about this right before the show.
Yeah.
So what China will do is they'll gentrify an area, and it's usually an area that already looks cool.
Yeah.
It'll be like actually old buildings and stuff.
Yeah, like genuine. Was it genuine?
Yeah. It's genuinely cool.
Genuinely cool, yeah.
So they'll knock everything down, and then they'll put up fake new structures out of concrete. But instead of making bricks, they'll actually just paint them on.
Yeah, you see in fact, I've got an example. I took some B-roll of this. We should have put it in here. I'm just going to pause this in the background for a second because we'll get back to it.
Sure.
There's an ancient style of Chinese building, a building technique which they used, which uses bricks, and they use whatever kind of mortar or cement that they use to put the bricks together is kind of white. So they use kind of gray bricks with a white, and it looks very pretty. It's very nice, a very iconic look. So what they do is they make a flat concrete screed wall for their new fake building. They paint it gray, and then someone comes along and hand paints the white grout in between to make it look like bricks. But it's actually just a flat concrete wall with like a, for lack of a better word, like a brick pattern, painted onto it, which is ridiculous. But they take it even a step further. What I recorded is they sometimes have a wallpaper. Yeah. Which is just, so it's a concrete, flat, screeded concrete wall, and then they like stick a wallpaper, a brick wallpaper on it. And, from a distance, it looks nice. Yeah. You get up close and you're like, what the hell is this? It's a bricks wallpaper, But yeah, that's China's quick way of gentrifying an area.
Yeah. Well, so this is that was just an explanation of what they do to like half-ass chop a door. Make something look new. This is actually fake bricks. Now, you guys might think, how ridiculous? Why would they make fake bricks? Now, these are also not for just display. This is for making buildings.
This is for buildings, real buildings. Building materials. Yeah. So keep going with that.
Yeah. So what they do is just to save on material costs and weight and gas, all that stuff. They factor it all in, ways to cut costs. They'll actually make them out of dirt, right?
Sure.
And then encase them in whatever crap, like partial mud, I guess. I'm not sure what they use.
The thing is, anyone who's been in construction will know that when you're building, it doesn't matter if it's concrete or whatever, there has to be certain kind of aggregate and stuff inside to make sure that everything binds together.
That's right.
And there's a proper way to treat them. Yeah, we'll play that in a second. There are proper ways to treat these things to make sure that they solidify properly. But when you don't have the correct materials or the right kilns to fire the bricks or whatever, or the proper way to do it, you just make junk.
Yeah.
It's kind of like building a concrete building without putting rebar in it. You need to have that rebar, otherwise the whole thing could just be broken over. So that's what you see, is they cut a lot of corners. Yeah. And because of this construction boom in China, a lot of people don't care. They just need the building materials, so they want the cheapest possible. And some unscrupulous people see a market and they just make these crappy bricks and sell them.
We should have included never mind, because we've shown it so many times. But remember when we went to the whole development of $1 million houses, villas, that was only 3 years old, but it's already falling apart.
And it had like cardboard inside.
And styrofoam.
Yeah, styrofoam and cardboard.
Yeah.
Inside that they just screeded over a little bit of concrete just to make it look like it's solid.
Right.
That's quite common. Yeah. Because of this massive boom. And there's not a lot of oversight. There's not a lot of quality control. So especially in a rural area, when you've got people like building buildings and stuff, it's not like there's an inspector coming around and checking everything's up to code.
There is.
I mean, they get paid off. They don't even go there.
No, they don't even go.
So the result is we've got a couple of things in the background here. You can see.
This is what happens.
Buildings falling over.
Are you surprised that when you use fake bricks and fake building materials that this happens? We quite literally saw this happen with those villas. Yeah. Half of the side will have fallen off. Yeah. And you remember what they do is they'll throw down some quick concrete just to make it level again. Yes, yeah. And it just it's a vicious cycle.
It is.
Because these people they don't move into them. They don't see these buildings at all.
Sure.
So they buy it sight unseen. They're like, oh, this is going to guarantee, so why would they use good materials to build it? Why would they waste money, right?
It's not necessary.
Yeah.
It's quite scary.
Yeah.
Look here, you can see a building just collapsing into the street.
That's a good example of
that's in a rural area. Yeah. You can see it was put together very, quickly and shoddily,
that's a newer building. Sure. That'd be a newer construction.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that you do expect. It was quite ridiculous, as we spoke about in the podcast before, when you saw the Florida building collapse, and everyone was just like in China was celebrating, for lack of a better word, to say, look how bad it is, and
right.
Well, I wouldn't have wanted to be on that roof.
Certainly not. No, this happens just quite often, and this is the stuff that leaks, right?
Sure,
they do hide a lot.
Oof, look at that
bridges.
entire.
Yeah,
corner building going. it's not like buildings are just falling over everywhere in China.
No, but it happens often.
It does happen often enough, and of course the reason being that the corners are cut all the time.
Quite literally.
Yeah, and a lot of what happens a lot is when, for instance, farmers they kind of find out that their village area or whatever is about to be bought up by the government, right? Mm-hmm. They'll quickly construct some shoddy buildings on there as well.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, we're moving on to something else here, so we'll
just wrap that up. We just wanted to show you that I've seen worse ones, like worse fake bricks, like concrete cinder blocks that are just like they fall apart.
I mean, and you also see pictures of people taking like a little stick or a bamboo stick and just poking holes in the walls of newly built apartments. Yeah. It really is a big money-making scheme right now in China. Well, it has been for about 20 years now, where it's just all about building very quickly and rapidly as an investment. People buy it without seeing it. So the construction company's like, well, we already have all the money up front because you pay up front and you invest in your property. They're like, we have X amount of money. Let's build this for the least amount of money possible so we can keep the lion's share. That's right. Yeah. So anyway, we're going to move on. What you see behind you here is what do you think that looks like?
I mean, it looks kind of related to shoddy building quality, but it's actually unrelated.
Yeah, it's unrelated. We have a wall.
Yeah.
For those of you at home, there's a wall that these people are busy breaking down. But let's see what's behind the wall. Okay, so they're breaking down this wall. What's behind the wall,
It's a door.
It's somebody's front door. Now, why was there a brick wall erected in front of someone's front door?
Well, it's because of the new COVID lockdowns. So what China's doing again for people that are repeat offenders or whatever, too many people going out to buy pork or whatever they're doing.
Yeah, don't go out and buy your vegetables more than once a day or whatever without your QR code.
If you don't have your QR code, you're going to get cemented into your house.
Yes.
And the funny thing is a lot of these clips go around and they're tolerated by China because the Chinese government says, hey, this is actually what's going to happen to you.
Yeah, it's kind of like a warning.
Yeah.
Listen, and look, I'll be honest with you. We all know China. People don't follow the rules. No. So you will get people like serial offenders. They'll just, they don't care. The Uncle Gumbays or whatever, the IEs will be like, none of my business. So just keep going out. Yeah. So they're like, well, then we're going to have to just weld you in or brick you in or whatever it is.
They quite literally do that.
Yeah. So what's going on here?
So this is an old man that got in trouble, I think, for literally buying vegetables, by the way. The audio is I just made it quiet in the background. But anyway, they weld.
I'll mute that.
Sure. Yeah.
I'll just mute that sound. We don't need it. They're just basically
just welding bars on his door.
So he went out to get vegetables too many times. They didn't like that. So like, you don't learn your lesson.
You guys saw this the first time around, like when COVID first happened.
Yeah.
And then they kept going. There's actually a lot of new of these clips coming out of the current lockdowns in Ningbo.
Yeah, Ningbo just got locked out. We know someone who just fled from Ningbo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Needed to seek freedom.
Oh, this will require audio.
Yeah.
So pause it real quick. Oops.
Sorry, I made a mistake.
So what you're gonna see in this clip is a little girl.
No, what you're not gonna see, because I have to find that clip again. Give me a second, guys. I've just made a little mistake.
A little error. I'll set it up.
Yeah.
So there is this propaganda clip going around of a little girl putting on a choreographed demonstration to say thank you to the first responders. Right? Like, thank you for protecting us. Thank you for stopping by and making sure these hazmat guys making sure that we're okay locked in our house. Right?
Yeah.
So she puts on a little. This was going around for a while, but. Chinese netizens made a different version of it.
Yeah, let's show you. So you can see the little girl here, everybody, and she's thanking the first. Well, I guess what do you call them? Thanking the health officials for bringing them. Because look, to be honest, right now it's bad in China. A lot of people are locked down, and they can only get food delivered to their house. They're not allowed to even go out.
Yeah.
Okay. It depends on the city and whatever. There's different severities, but there's a lot of lockdowns going on. So here's this little girl doing a lovely dance to thank them. Let's see what happens.
I'm a little concerned this is going to be one of those situations where people think we're heartless pieces of shit. But I'll tell you what, this was actually made by Chinese people. Chinese
people made this, by the way.
And it's going around the Chinese internet. And it's in good humor because they are obviously not very happy they're getting locked in their houses.
Like, stay in there. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, so so this is again round 2. The thing is, we discussed this. This is on a more serious note. You can pause it there.
Yeah.
On a more serious note, China did this whole thing where they're like, okay, we suffered, we got locked in our houses. Yes, it looked brutal to you stupid Westerners, but this is how we do things. Stay out of our shit.
Yeah.
Right? Look at now, we have pool parties. Look at now, we're out doing all this stuff. And it worked. Like, a lot of Westerners were like, hey, wait a minute, that's not fair. Look at, they're back to normal. Then we realized, well, here in America, nothing ever was not normal anyway.
No.
It's always been pretty normal.
That's always been the excuse. We will put you through hell in China. We're going to lock you up. It's going to be terrible. You're not allowed to leave your apartment. You're not allowed to leave your apartment complex unless you have a special permission and only for a certain amount of time. We're going to have curfews.
You go to jail if you fraternize with other people.
Basically, we're going to put you through hell, but the reward is that, look, the rest of the world's wallowing in filth and all dying and stuff, but we have conquered COVID and now we're back to normal. Guess what? They're back to this crap again. But what they don't realize is that the rest of the world, at least here in America, where we've been the entire time during the COVID, is that life has never actually been anything but normal, except for the period where you weren't allowed to go into shopping centers and restaurants. Didn't stop you from going to the supermarkets, getting your curbside pickup, going for a drive out to the mountains, going to the beach, doing whatever it is you want to do. Life never was not normal.
No, that's, I mean, okay, yes, it had a huge impact. Yes, people lost their jobs and all that stuff. But what I'm trying to combat here is the Chinese propaganda that the U.S. went through a massive, long lockdown that China didn't have to because they ate better in the beginning. They suffered in the beginning.
Yeah.
That's simply not the truth.
Yeah, that's the whole point about this is that at least in America, I know Australia's got terrible lockdowns right now and they suck. And everyone
I'm talking about by my own country.
Yeah, and I know in the UK and various places are suffering very badly. But in America anyway, you still have the freedom to go and do what you want. You also have the freedom to be an idiot and get COVID. That's the difference. But you also have the freedom to take precautions and get vaccinated or wear a mask or just stay away from big crowds. But you can still live your life. That's my point, is that in China, you don't have the freedom.
I'm going to have to call out a couple of the commenters here in the live chat just saying, like, are you kidding me? Life was completely... You had to wear a mask. Don't be a baby.
Look, there's nothing wrong with wearing a mask, okay? Just do it if you have to.
Yeah. Anyway.
If you really don't like wearing a mask, that's fine. Don't wear a mask and just hang out away from other people so that you don't
I don't want to get involved in that. My point is, like, they're trying to compare the lockdowns in China to what happened here. It's not...
Look at that, okay?
Okay?
That's the difference. If you're concerned about wearing a mask, you should be concerned about being locked and barred into your apartment so you cannot exit, being held prisoner in your own house. Okay, it's a big difference. You see, that's the difference between freedom and not freedom, right there.
Yes.
And yes, there's some people say, oh, the ends justify the means, but actually not. Because look, it didn't help. It's back. A lot of places are under lockdown. China's economy has suffered massively again. You don't hear a lot about it because you won't, but it really is. It's really making a big impact on everything.
Now, to leave the American side of things, I wanted to go back to the China side and say, this is what's happening again, right? So China's whole excuse in the beginning is we did it and it's done, right? We're going to close the borders forever.
Yeah.
If anything happens, we're going to blame it on foreigners. And then they have another outbreak, right? Now what do? Now all the Chinese people in China right now are like, well, we're going to have another lockdown again?
Yeah.
After all this, you can't just continue this behavior, right? You can't shut everything down over and over again. Yeah. It doesn't work like that.
No, it doesn't. Anyway, we just kind of wanted to point out that this terrible lockdown thing, let me just... Hang on.
不要出门 means go out of the... Don't leave your gate. Anyway, it doesn't matter. They have these loudspeakers that go on and say that to people.
They're currently welding it shut.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Now for the main event for the fun stuff.
Yes, this is the fun stuff.
So... I wish we had a soundbite from the last episode, but Cardi C dropped a new song. We were very impressed. We loved it.
Yeah.
You guys hopefully were nice over in the comments over there. We want to encourage her to be able to break out of the state rap and get more into her own personal endeavors.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
However, Xinhua, which is China's actual state party mouthpiece.
Yeah, well, they all are, but this is like
from the horse's mouth.
The best one. Yeah.
you don't usually see them share this kind of stuff out. You'll see like Global Times or Zhao Lijian, right? Those people will share this kind of stuff out. But no, Xinhua, which is straight up, you're talking Beijing, like Zhongnanhai, where the equivalent of the White House, their mouthpiece is sharing rap. It says, open the door to Fort Detrick, shed light on tightly held secret. Enjoy a new song from China's CD Rev rap group. Now, Zhao Lijian, which is our favorite wolf wanker, Turd Warrior, he also shared that out, and he said, open the door to Fort Detrick, shed light on a tightly held secret. This rap song speaks our minds. This dude, this literal state mouthpiece man who just runs his mouth all the time about how bad the West is promoting state rap yet again. We've told you a million times, this isn't going to work. It's a bad idea.
So, yeah.
But we need background on Fort Detrick.
Yeah, so guys, what's been happening lately is there've been a couple of bombshell reports that have come out by one of the scientists who initially went on the first WHO fact-finding mission. Okay. The lab leak theory is now looking more and more plausible.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I mean, it's almost overwhelming.
I mean, it's always looked plausible. But right now, there's actual scientists that went on the first one saying that the Chinese government coerced them into saying that it's not a lab leak.
The WHO is saying it's likely.
Yes. So now the WHO, who are in the pockets of China and who pandered to China the whole time, are now saying that it's pretty likely that it came from a lab in China. Wuhan. And that patient zero was probably somebody working at the lab who fell sick and then went out.
Just saying, I called that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and we've known that all along.
Yes.
Okay. The fact is that now the pressure is ramping up because now it's starting to look more and more like it's going to be proven that it did actually come from China and it did actually come from a lab in China. So now China is doing what it does best, which is called whataboutism. Mm-hmm. So if you say, hey, you're fat, they'll say, oh, yeah, well, you're fatter. That's whataboutism is. They're doing that now. So now they've been desperately pulling at strings. In the beginning, we've talked about this before, they tried to blame the outbreak on Italy. They tried to blame it on frozen food coming in from Australia. They come up with all this crap. There's always some excuse to say, not us, when it's clearly broke out in Wuhan, clearly right next to where they've got the only level 4 biolab, which studies the exact coronaviruses, and they're manipulating the exact coronaviruses, which, of course, is what the pandemic is.
Can we make sure that people understand one thing?
Yeah.
And just reiterate what you said.
Yeah.
The lab in Wuhan worked on bat-derived coronaviruses, right?
Yes.
Which affect respiratory systems in mammals, like humans.
Yes.
And Peter Balsack,
Balsack
of the WHO,
yes,
a virologist, right?
Yes.
Studied and admitted that in that lab they were manipulating those bat-derived coronaviruses.
Those exact ones.
With Shi Zhengli, the head of the lab. And then an outbreak happened where a bat-derived coronavirus infected people meters away
from the
lab, where the samples were being transported.
And where the samples were being manipulated.
Yeah. So what does China do? You said whataboutism, right?
Yeah.
They chose a military lab in America as the source of coronavirus.
Yes.
With no evidence or proof.
No.
None.
They say that this military lab in America created the coronavirus, and then when they had some kind of military games, which is kind of like like an Olympics for military people. It sounds pretty lame to me, but anyway. They apparently had that in China, in Wuhan. They say that when the American soldiers came over, they infected other military people, and then somehow...
On purpose.
Yeah. Somehow it went into the Wuhan wet market, which is 400 meters away or whatever from that lab.
Yeah.
And then it spread from there, which of course is the biggest crock of shit that you could ever come up with. But they've convinced a huge portion of the Chinese population that it's true.
And pro-CCP tanky shills.
Oh yeah, the tanky shills are loving this.
It looks so, for lack of better words, our word. Like, you look like I can understand if you are a brainwashed Chinese person that doesn't see outward.
This is
opinion.
this is conspiracy theory.
It is.
This is like saying we didn't land on the moon.
Yeah, it's along those lines.
Yeah.
But you have these guys.
The Earth is flat.
The commie bunch.
Yeah.
You have Western people.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'll give you an excuse. Imagine if you're a Chinese person, you only get to see state media.
Yeah.
Of course you're going to believe that, right? you don't have any other opinion. But these guys consume all this media, and they understand. They lie through their teeth and promote Fort Detrick.
I just got to tell you one thing.
What?
You do not see the United States, like federal government, putting out a rap about a Wuhan virus leak.
No.
You don't see that.
Despite that being true.
Yeah. Here's the problem, though, is that they have to be loud. They have to
Yes.
try to drown it out, because when the truth is there and you can't refute it, the only thing you can do is make a lot of noise and try to make a lot of distractions so people cannot actually hear the truth. And that's what they're doing. So the truth is, it came from Wuhan. We all know that the virus originated in Wuhan. It's very likely, and the evidence is starting to prove that it came from the lab, which is what we've suspected all along. And as this truth is starting to come to light, all they can do is shout louder and louder. No, it's not us. No, it's you. It's Fort Detrick. And so what do? They blast it out on state media. They blast it out on social media. They pay their little shills to make videos about it. And they make rap songs about it. Can you believe that there's a rap song about Fort Detrick?
Being put out from top level of Beijing.
And the foreign spokesperson of China is tweeting it out. It's ridiculous.
It's just so cringe, too. Let's focus on the cringe now. Because we've given them the background of the Fort Detrick idiocy.
Yes.
Oh, my gosh. If you want to look into that, do it.
We got to actually show you this rap. But,
I put this together. Yes. This is Jolly Jin in his natural environment. Now, he's really embraced rap culture.
Yes, he has.
So you can see he's got a massive spliff. I like you take us out for a second. He's got cool communist graffiti in the background.
Oh, there we go.
Rules.
Yeah, Xi Jinping rules.
So he reminds me, like, the fact that they made him go out there and promote rap about Fort Detrick reminds me of that 90s instructional hip-hop dance video with that
Are we going to cringe people out?
Yeah. If you guys, if you've seen it, I apologize, but this reminds me of
I think the first thing that you need to know about hip-hop, it's all about your posture. And, you know, growing up, my posture was really bad. My mom used to tell me all the time, stand up straight, stand up straight. This is the first thing I'm going to say to you. You want to do hip-hop? You got to stand like this. Start out just hitting it, hitting it, hitting it.
Oh, boy.
I took some of this from an African piece. In the African piece, it was like this. But in hip-hop, it's like this. See, there's a difference.
This is music.
Oh, it's bad.
What are you going to do when hip-hop goes out? Hip-hop is an attitude. I'll give them a bye. They look at me like I'm crazy, but then they know this right here is me. And then I give them the peace.
But all the
that just reminded me of that. Like,
sorry for cringing you all out. Yeah.
It's okay. They loved it.
Guys, now we're going to hear the actual rap. This is what the CCP has put out. So we're going to go through it. Are we just going to play it through?
Yeah, you can. What I wanted to set this up with is you can tell they shit it out last minute because this is what happened. This is a couple weeks ago. The lab leak thing. The WHO wants a second probe now.
Yes.
They want to go back into Wuhan and say, guys, we're a little closer to this. And then they changed their tune because they got rid of the conflict of interest people. The WHO, by and large, is not a bad institution. It's just the people in charge of the investigation were in China's pocket.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So they got those people aside. Peter Balsack, they're like, we'll deal with you later.
Exactly.
Send in some new people. And they're like, guys, yeah, absolutely. This probably came from the lab.
Sure.
Right? Prodding.
Sure.
And other people, like scientists, kept doing their work and looking into it. And governments said, hey, let's look into this some more.
Sure.
And then actually the truth started to come out. So they were like, shit, what do we do? Let's make a rap.
Let's
and
make
here's
a rap.
This rap.
Okay, we're going to show you the rap and we'll come back in and talk about it. All right, so we're going to get ourselves out the picture. Please, this is some gold.
evidence is pointing that it came from the lab, and there will be responsibility for those who funded the lab, including yourself.
I totally resent that. And if anybody is lying here, Senator, it is you.
Typical political manipulation. Again and again.
Original data and original information that is still being held by China.
China to be transparent, to be forthcoming with data and information.
I know what you're plotting, forcing another orange attrition for the results that you're seeking. Cause nobody knows it better than me. For that, was it off limits? Nazi doctors will hire war criminals from Unit 730 while human experiments happen. Done. What kind of devil still happen? Sign for that trick, more like a witch's cauldron. How many plots came out of your labs? How many dead bodies hanging in death? What you hiding, huh? Open the door to protect trade, cause transparency's your favorite. And great, American first. We want the truth. Open the door to protect trade, share light, not tightly held secret.
We lied, we cheated, we steal.
We want the truth. Trying to pass the bot to reset with the game. Keep selling ideas, so we don't buy in, but things are still mad. And let the judges in. Those medical pros, they ready for this. They just need to open the lab and say hello. Put everything on the table, let the truth be told. Wait a minute, I heard you got a new media award. The Bloomberg says that you the number one in the world in managing COVID, which is really ironic. Maybe it depends on how many patients lying, how many families are crying. I'm so sick of media spin, sick of these political shows. You know what's behind this title? 600,000 dead souls. You make science political, that's unbelievable. You don't even know what you're talking about. What's gonna function? You better make it clear. It's coronavirus, not your Christmas souvenir. One thing you gotta know, you can't spin this world, but please don't lie to yourself. That's sanctimonious. Open the door to protect trade, cause transparency's your favorite. And great, American first. We want the truth. Open the door to protect trade, share light, not tightly held secret.
We lied, we cheated, we steal.
We want the truth. Open the door to protect trade, cause transparency's your favorite. And great, American first. We want the truth. Open the door to protect trade, share light, not tightly held secret. We want the truth.
Yeah.
That was really bad.
A Christmas souvenir?
I mean, yeah, we can't go through this whole thing, but we have to look at a few things here, okay?
Yeah.
What on earth is this nonsense they're talking about? Forcing another origin tracing. First of all, I have to say, musically, that is a very terrible...
Oh, it's like 2 out of 10.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Even me not being a musician,
right?
I feel like I could do that myself, and it'd be better.
That's why I said it looks like they shit it out last minute.
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's so bad. Like
it doesn't rhyme.
Some poor guy had to stay up all night, and nothing rhymes.
No, it doesn't.
And how is it I don't want to pick apart the actual arguments, but how is it forcing an origin? It's not forcing. What if you have nothing to hide? Then why do you care? Right? Like, why does it matter if there's a second probe if it really didn't happen?
I'd like to know what they said. Nazi doctors were hired. Did Fort Detrick hire Nazi doctors? Maybe after World War II or something.
Maybe,
right?
I don't know.
War criminals from Unit 731. That's that Japanese unit that did all those experiments.
Yeah, but think about this. Like, there is literally zero proof that there's any connection.
But that's true. Like, if Nazi scientists were used to build the rockets, and that's how America got to the moon, and also Russia. They also used the Nazi rocket scientists. It doesn't matter. What does it have to do with COVID?
It has nothing to do. It's a typical deflection.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're bad. Right. So we're not.
Nazis exist, so COVID didn't come from China.
Yeah. I like how they open the doors to Fort Detrick, shed light on a tightly held secret. Let the judges in. Bloomberg says you're number one in the world in managing COVID.
That was actually number one in the world for COVID transparency, and it absolutely was.
Yeah.
There was no hiding.
China number million.
Do you notice what they said right after that? It's like they're like, how many people are lying? How many people are dying? Like, patients. They...
Ask yourself.
So the Chinese government would rather have millions of people die, right?
Yes.
Potentially millions of people die, and then not admit it. Then rub it in the face of a Western government that says, yes, this is how many people died. This is really bad.
There's been transparency about the deaths where we know for a fact that there's been no transparency when it comes to not only the infections, but the amount of deaths in China. Right. And we've seen that multiple times where people have been covering up infections or writing them down as some other thing, like died of pneumonia rather than COVID, that kind of thing. So it's kind of rich. But at the end of the day, I think it's pretty awful that they are making fun of how many people died, considering this pandemic originated in China from Wuhan. You should not be blasting that out there, because at the end of the day, people could always turn around and say, well, guess what? That's your fault.
To the government, Chinese government, yeah.
Yeah, CCP.
Well, that's what they're going to do when this is done.
They better do it, because it was the CCP covering up that allowed it to spread around the world. And they really did give everybody the wrong advice and lied about it, that it's not human-to-human transmissible when they knew that it was. And I made a point the other day on Twitter where this is a fact. It's not racist to stop flights coming out from the epicenter of an unknown pandemic outbreak.
No.
But the Chinese government and the WHO and other Western governments and so on put out the narrative that it was racist and allowed it to go out.
Despite the Chinese government stopping all transportation from Wuhan.
Exactly. But the Chinese government themselves blocked off Wuhan, the
Right.
epicenter of the pandemic. It did not allow any transportation, never mind flights, trains, everything, nothing.
Yeah.
You weren't allowed to leave in a bus, to leave Wuhan, to go anywhere else in the country. They're more than happy to say, you come from Wuhan, F off. You're not getting out of there. But when another country like the US says, we got to stop flights coming out of China because there's this massive thing that's just happened, they're like, you're racist. You know, that's what allowed the pandemic to spread, was a combination of lies from the CCP and the rest of the world being too woke and too like PC to even consider stopping the spread of a deadly virus because they were afraid of being called racist. You know, it's a very terrible combination, and that's why we're in the situation we're in right now. So we got to be careful from now on when dealing with the Chinese government when it comes to anything that they say, because we have proof now of what can happen when you just take them for their word, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway, this is absolute ridiculous rap. Is just, you've seen it now.
You've seen it here. It's maybe second or third or maybe first.
Yeah. Anyway,
Open the door to Fort Detrick. We want to hear the truth.
Yeah, I love your Christmas souvenir.
The
water. What is he doing with the water?
Senator Rand Paul drinking water. That's fantastic.
It's pretty funny. It's a strange name, Rand Paul.
Rand. Feeling kind of randy.
South Africa
Rand, yeah.
Anyway, we're going to take a couple of super chats and we're going to move on to the main topic, which of course is about the Taliban and stuff.
Woo-wee.
We love talking about this thing.
Love the Taliban. We love the Taliban.
No, we don't. Okay.
Just joking.
So what do we got?
But you know who loves the Taliban actually is China.
Yes.
Well, the Chinese government.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to preface this with some breaking stuff I found out from the Chinese internet.
Okay.
Well, actually, first, let's start off with a little meme, a Taliban meme about picking cotton.
Oh, wait, before we do,
tasteful.
let's take some super chats.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
See, now he's the one forgetting about that.
iWaz12, welcome. Thank you for joining, being a member. Phil Kipnis, thank you very much as well. Tactic Turn says, considering what Xi Jinping made nuclear threats, shouldn't the IAEA be conducting investigations and levying sanctions? You can guarantee they won't. No. Because it's never taken seriously for some reason when China blusters. It's kind of like Boy Who Cried Wolf.
Because they do it all the time.
Yeah.
They're like, if you cross one more step or you take one more step, you cross that line, you will face the wrath of Beijing, the final straw.
Right.
How many final straws does China have? Well, a lot, apparently.
A lot. He's got a whole pack
their
of straws.
Their final straw is actually only their first straw.
Their first straw.
Yeah, it's the first one.
What does Taiwanese Beijing want with the Taliban? Are they just attracted to the last three letters?
Taliban. I like that one.
World Traveler 232 says, Afghan refugees, why can't countries cut a deal with China to send refugees to China? After all, it claims to be more humane and well-governed and rich.
That's a good idea.
Very true. You know, it's funny is that China keeps shitting on America and shitting on the West about this whole crisis.
Yeah.
And yet they're not accepting any of the refugees from this friendly country.
You will see that China jumps on any opportunity to criticize the Western world. So whenever there's a refugee crisis, for instance, they love to jump on it. Oh, kids in cages, that kind of thing. Yeah. That's what the Chinese media blasted out to show how inhumane America is. Yet China accepts no refugees.
Yes.
Zero. They are the worst. They're the worst offenders.
Right.
You're not getting in there on a refugee visa or whatever, an asylum-seeking visa. You cannot.
Right.
And because it's like an ethno-state, it's only Chinese people only. So if you got
China is an ethno-state. I don't know why people think it's not.
Yeah, it's not like you've got a mixture of different races there. If you're black or Arabic or whatever, and you try to go to China,
not the US.
you can't become a citizen. No. You can't integrate. You're just an outsider, and you can't claim asylum. You can't just immigrate there. So China should shut the hell up about this stuff.
And when you experience oppression and racism, you have no recourse.
There's no recourse. You can't complain about it and get it sorted out. There's no law to help you.
Why do these tanky types, and tankies are people that sympathize with communist governments.
Yeah.
These very left-leaning people, like I'm talking about all the way on the left to the point of being communist or whatever, in the West, they're the ones that support, and I also support any sort of equality. I believe in equality of humankind, all races, genders, whatever, right?
Yeah.
But then when it comes to China, you have the most polarizing example of an ethno-state that hates other races.
Yeah.
Quite literally hates other races. all racism goes unpunished.
Yes.
And there's no recourse for people that experience racism, like the Africans in Guangzhou and things like this.
Yeah.
Yet they get defended by those very same
It's
people.
crazy.
I just don't understand.
But I also really like the whole point I was saying earlier, when they continually criticize the United States or Australia or whatever for their refugee crises and things like that, and as if they're bad, but they're worse.
They don't have refugees.
They don't.
Take them.
They don't take them in. They're just awful towards other people who need help. They don't help. They're just they really don't help.
They don't help.
They don't help. All they do is set up these crappy Belt and Road Initiative things where they put up crappy infrastructure in different countries and steal all the resources and put them in a debt trap. That's their idea of help.
The Bait and Rob Initiative, as we call it, the
yeah.
Belt and Road Initiative. A little update on that. There's a big protest going on in Pakistan right now, which is one of China's greatest allies, by the way. And I say allies in quotes because it's very weak.
Yeah.
It's basically founded on the mutual hatred of India.
Yeah.
But yeah, in reality, like Pakistanis are not very happy with what's happening because it's cutting off their access. Yeah.
To water and electricity and stuff.
It's not good. But anyway, that's what you'll see is China, just like the building quality, you'll see China do these infrastructure projects in some of these countries, and a lot of them, some of them are successful, a lot of them go unfinished.
Sure.
So there's these big pits.
And they also just build crap that no one uses.
Yeah.
They build like a train station, but no one uses it because there's no need for it.
There's no need for it, or it doesn't really go anywhere useful.
And the worst thing about it is that when they come in there, they make promises about we're going to create local jobs with all these infrastructure products, but then they import all the labor from China. They don't even hire
They use their
people.
own workers.
Yeah.
I mean, to the point where they even hire like masseuses and restaurant owners, bring them over to Africa, like Tanzania.
Yeah.
And then set them up there, and they don't integrate at all with the locals. Sometimes they'll pick up some people that they underpay.
Sure.
Some local
They treat
people.
them awfully, the people that they do. So it's not a good deal. Any country, especially, I have a lot of African friends. I am African. I'm from Africa. I know. I've been talking to people. No one's happy.
No. In places that initially they were, like our friends in Ghana, initially were kind of welcoming to the whole infrastructure projects that China was bringing. I would say the vast majority of people I talk to now are against Chinese infrastructure building. Belt and Road Initiative.
It's done nothing but destroy the environments,
Correct.
the forests, and the rivers.
It's taken away corrupt ownership that was already corrupt enough and put it in other corrupt hands, and it's just not manageable for them in the future. But anyway, we're not actually getting off track because this is directly related to what China's doing in Afghanistan.
Yeah. So let's
little joke here, dark joke. It says China welcomes the incoming Taliban government, promises to show them how to grow cotton. Let's find a picture.
Wait.
Perfect.
There we go.
Yeah. So the joke here is that China forces Uyghur Muslim minority people to pick cotton in their own country. So they'll teach the Taliban how to do it, apparently.
Yeah.
So I run this in the background. Give you a quick rundown. Done a lot of research about this because just put out a video.
He's just put out a video, which I suggest after this, please go and watch it if you haven't.
Thank you. Yeah, it's called Afghanistan, China's New Province.
Yes.
I have made a claim here that China is probably going to find some ancient map where they actually owned Afghanistan in the past.
Maybe they will.
So anyway, what happened, very, very, very quick rundown, is basically the Taliban took over Afghanistan alarmingly quickly after the U.S. left, right?
Sure.
People were quite devastated to hear about that.
It's awful.
But long story short, China, weirdly enough, was one of the first, actually one of the only governments to come in there and recognize the Taliban as the legitimate government of Afghanistan. And it's weird because China has traditionally hated the Taliban. They hate them with, you can't even understand the propaganda that used to go around about the Taliban was that they train Uyghur religious extremists in Western China.
Yeah.
So they labeled them as not only a terrorist group, but actually wanted to fund organizations to fight against the Taliban, right?
Yeah.
They hated the Taliban because of...
Sorry, this cracks me up. Them in that, whatever, the presidential palace, in the gym, all working out for the first time in their lives or something, using that stuff.
I mean, to be fair, they don't need a whole lot of exercise fighting an eternal
fit.
war.
Yeah, they're fit. They don't need it, but it's just funny to see them on the exercise machine.
It is hilarious.
Yeah.
So anyway, traditionally China's hated the Taliban. The Chinese government's, their official narrative has never been supportive, right? No. So all of a sudden, you have this imagery, and you'll see in a little bit, this imagery of Wang Yi, which is the foreign minister, meeting up with the head of the Taliban. Well, they're foreign minister, right?
Yeah.
And they're meeting up, and it looks so unnatural because just years prior, you have the Chinese government literally saying this is one of the worst terrorist organizations in the world, and they are responsible in part for radicalizing our Chinese people in Western China.
Yeah.
So naturally, you have a group, a large majority.
Here he is.
Right. The large, yeah, we can pause it on them. There's probably a picture of them together. Yeah, there.
Yeah.
Naturally, you have a large group of people in China that say, oh, you know what, the government's right. We obviously can't support a terrorist group, right? Then all of a sudden, whiplash, state media all over the place is quite literally going around talking about how the Taliban has done so much for women's rights.
Yeah, for women's rights, for crying out loud.
Literacy, education, human rights. You have state media going on CCTV and spokespeople saying to Chinese people, the Taliban is good.
Yeah, the Taliban's great.
They're our new friends because they're against the U.S.
I know Similk's already explained it to you guys, but the reason why there are concentration camps in Xinjiang, the reason why, at least the reason that they give, is because they say it's Islam extremism that they're trying to get rid of.
Correct.
Now, is there a more Islamic extremist group than the Taliban?
Well, not in that size, not of that size.
No.
Right?
So I mean, here's the thing: that's their justification for concentration camps, separating families, just arbitrarily locking people up, all the checkpoints, all the whole surveillance state. This terrible thing that's happening in the western side of China, this whole Xinjiang cultural genocide that you see going on, and their main reason is because they always use terrorism and Islamist extremism as their reasoning. Okay? But now they're praising it.
So the hypocrisy is a bit rich, would you not say?
It's incredibly rich.
Run this footage in the background. There will be some talking points that pop up. So now we got their meeting out of the way.
Yeah.
What I was interested in was recently, what I've been compiling was the Chinese response amongst netizens.
That guy, he looks so uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, well, this is such an unnatural meeting.
Why aren't they wearing masks?
Oh, they don't need to. The fucking mask.
Yeah, exactly.
They don't need to. They don't need to. Oh, there they go.
Wait. That doesn't make sense.
It's because it's all for show.
So maybe they don't wear masks maybe they're holding their breath. It's like, okay, 1, 2, 3, hold your breath. Okay, wait.
Mask on,
okay.
quick.
Everybody, okay, go. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Now
What's
the masks
going
are
on
on,
here?
right?
Why is that guy next to him not wearing a mask?
It doesn't make... Chinese officials can do whatever the hell they want.
I'm just,
They get free reign of Twitter while it's blocked for the citizens of China.
Exactly. Oh, hold your breath again. What's going on here? By the way, for those of you who don't know, wearing a mask when you have a thick beard, it's kind of useless.
Yeah, it's like...
Just the air just goes through your beard.
Nothing.
Yeah, I suppose. Maybe it's beard filtration.
Sure. Well, anyway, these are the camps are in Xinjiang, and they actually border Afghanistan.
That's the thing. And that's why they hate the Taliban so much, is because they have always been saying it's the Taliban that like radicalizes the Uyghurs to go in and cause trouble.
And the thing is like that evidence is very, very hard to come by, to be totally honest. They've always made these justifications in the past. And a lot of them, even in 2008 when there were some explosions and stuff from the Uyghur extremists, a lot of them were fabricated. Yeah. And they can't find any proof that they were being radicalized by anyone. And it was China's kind of reasoning to nip this in the bud before they can. Because the Uyghurs are not they don't want to be part of China.
Yeah, you can see here on the map how Afghanistan has...
It's a very small border.
It has a tiny little, almost like a river-looking thing going from Afghanistan to China.
It's like reaching out, like that Michelangelo
painting. Just that painting, it's exactly that. Yeah, it looks like that's ridiculous. It's like, this is our terrorist corridor. Right. What's going on?
So, okay, so here's the deal. You have this issue, and what I wanted to talk about in our episode, and this is maybe something you won't get from other people's analysis of this. Everyone's going, China, Taliban, blah, blah. We get it.
Yeah.
My point is that it's actually had a backfiring effect in China because the people have just recently been told the Taliban is really bad and dangerous.
Yeah.
And now... it's whiplash. There's actually whiplash happening, and there's posts being deleted left and right.
Yeah, because people are like, wait, hang on a
what
second.
Are you talking about?
We've been told for so long that this is bad. This is why we lock up all the Uyghurs, and all of a sudden you're telling us that they're great? We must work together with them, and they're a legitimate government, and we must support them?
Now, Chinese people have always been under the impression that, they can see through the propaganda, right? But, you sacrifice a lot of your freedom for whatever, being able to make money and stuff. Nowadays, the propaganda has been so tone deaf that they forget how unbelievable some of this stuff is. So they're actually underestimating the intelligence of the populace, who is now going online and saying, what are you talking about literacy? What are you talking about women's rights? They're beheading people.
Yeah, they are.
What are you talking about women's rights? So it's actually backfiring, and Hua Chunying actually had to go out. They deleted a bunch of posts.
Right.
Hua Chunying, which is the woman, the foreign spokeswoman.
Yeah, another wolf warrior.
Another wolf warrior. She goes out, and she had to say, listen, I'll actually quote her here.
Okay, quote her.
Some people stress their distrust for the Afghan Taliban. This is after they wiped all the pro-Taliban stuff. We want to say that nothing is unchanged forever.
What does that even mean?
We need
Nothing
to
is
see
unchanged forever.
We need to see the past and the present. We need to listen to words and watch actions. She basically said to the Chinese populace that distrust the Taliban, because they've been told to, by the way, from the Chinese government, to hate the Taliban.
So she told them, things change.
Things change. Let's let them prove themselves.
Sure.
Right? So here's the deal. I gave you this analogy the other day.
Yeah.
But you had, like, the USSR went in, the US went in, removed Al-Qaeda, right? Mm-hmm. Taliban took over. Afghanistan's a tribal nation. It's probably never going to be properly unified. What the idea that China has right now is that they hope that it's more of an Iran situation. In Iran, if you guys don't know, it's a well-educated country.
Yes.
It's a secular government. Mm-hmm. Religion's not part of the actual what should be people's lives, right? Yeah. Except there's a theocracy on top that can tell them, hey, religion is a part of your life.
Yes.
And we can use religion to be the ultimate say. Mm-hmm. The theocracy in Iran doesn't have to do anything. They don't have to make roads. They don't have to make schools. That's the government's job. They have to actually do all the functioning country stuff. Sure. They get to just be bastards that whip people and say, hey, when you're bad, you're bad. And that's up to us, right? So what China hopes is that they can be the functioning government that gets all the resources. They can get everything they want, lithium from Afghanistan. They can do all this stuff while the Taliban could be the theocracy that has the nominal control, almost like a puppet state in a way.
Yes.
And maybe the Taliban in the short term will be happy with that, right?
Yeah, maybe they will.
The idea, the fantasy that China has is that they'll be able to run Afghanistan, get all their stuff, have the Belt and Road go through there or nearby, uninterrupted. Because Afghanistan's always been a thorn in countries' sides, right?
Yeah.
For pipelines and things like that. Mm-hmm. So then you have a situation where the Taliban gets to say, okay, well, we still have ultimate full control over people's lives, right? Yes. That marriage is a fantasy to me. I think in the end it will probably implode.
I think that dealing with terrorists is never a good idea.
Correct.
And especially
why don't you
extremists.
expand on that? Yeah.
I mean, it just makes absolute sense. You're not dealing with a reasonable set of people. People that go around and behead people and stone people to death and whatever else they do because they presume there's been a slight or a blasphemy or something like that, is not a good mix with China, who's completely atheist, right? They are.
Oh yeah, it's an atheist state.
They are the worst pairing ever. So you have quite literally a government that does all the sins and condones all the sins which are not condoned by Islam. These two are not going to mix very well together.
No.
So they right now, this whole enemy of my enemy is my friend type deal, they're going to get together for a little while and they're going to help each other out. They think they're going to help each other out. What they're really doing is just using each other.
Right.
And it's going to reach a point where they're going to not be able to ignore the problems anymore.
No.
And then we're going to see a lot of disruption, a lot of turmoil, a lot of horrible things. We're going to see Mr. Chen's head rolling down the street. It's not going to be pretty.
No.
We're going to see the PLA coming in and doing stuff. It's not going to be
peacekeeping
pretty.
missions.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty bad. It's going to get ugly. And unfortunately, China is still new at this foreign diplomacy game. They don't really know what they're doing. I mean, no one's perfect. The US has made a huge mess, and it always does when it goes around, but at least they've got experience in making messes, so they know how to do it.
Yeah.
Whereas China doesn't have that experience,
Sure.
So I'm really not seeing a favorable outcome here.
To calm down like the war hawks and types, like because Winston and I both are not in favor of war in the vast majority of situations.
Yeah.
We don't think that that's a complete inevitability. That's if if things are going to go the way that we think they are.
Yeah.
And I wanted to address something that's very related to us because we can talk about China.
Yeah.
That a lot of people are not talking about, and that is why the hell would an Islamic theocracy like the Taliban be totally fine with an atheist state like you just brought up, an atheist state that imprisons and puts Muslim people in concentration camps, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's very easy to explain. And what you guys have to understand is you have to actually remove Islam and religion from this conversation entirely.
Yeah.
You don't even need to focus on that anymore.
Sure.
This has nothing to do with religion because what it has to do with is a despotic dictatorship, this theocracy, right? Mm-hmm. remove religion out of this, China just likes despotic dictatorships because they're easy to manipulate, right? It doesn't matter if they're religious or not.
Yeah.
The Taliban leadership, why do they care if China treats Muslims bad? They actually don't in this scenario because the ends justify the means.
Yeah.
What has the Taliban done very well? Well, they fought a damn good war for 20 years. They've managed to hold on to power quite well in these regions.
They certainly got ahead.
Yeah, they certainly got ahead. Yeah, dark.
Yeah, heads will roll for that one.
Heads will roll for that joke.
Exactly.
They managed to do a pretty damn good job at taking over the country quite quickly, right? And they've managed to hold on power quite well. And a religion, although has to do with a local situation, it doesn't have to do with international diplomacy, because what they can get from China is completely hushed mouths and no human rights problems. You don't have to deal with like reports and international UN like sanctions coming in and all this kind of stuff. You get this massively rich neighbor over there that's going to funnel you whatever you want, and you get to do anything you like.
You can be
quite literally
horrible cutthroat nation.
You could.
You know, do whatever you want.
But you could, and that's why you have to understand the leadership between these two. Yes, the fundamentals of Islam might be very important to a lot of people within the Taliban, right? And it is a good means of power grabbing.
Yeah.
That being said, religion has a lot less to do with it than you think. You just have you have one newly burgeoning country that's very eager to take full control, and you have another country that's very eager to swoop in where there's a U.S. power vacuum.
Yes.
To just go get a bunch of resources, and they can do whatever they want.
Yeah,
right.
Because I mean, Afghanistan does have all the rare earths and things.
Yeah.
You know, it's got a lot of stuff which is desirable for China. They would love to grab a hold of that. So yeah, it's a pretty messy situation.
Oh, actually, can you go back? I wanted to read some of the propaganda that's been coming out. So,
like this, yeah.
Why don't you read
get
that?
us out of there, okay? CCP's Mouthpiece CCTV, okay? So China Central Television, one of their reporters said, one of their anchormen said, Taliban has not disturbed ordinary life. The CCTV claimed that today's Taliban is impressive, as it announced in all the cities it annexed that ordinary lives will not be disturbed, and called the USA's retreat a historical humiliation.
So this was a little bit earlier on when the Taliban took over. Now, what I wanted to actually tell you guys is that they've been meeting with the Taliban for a little while now, for a week before the takeover.
Yeah. I mean,
they preempted
that whole
this.
big meeting happened like, weeks before?
Yeah. This was preempted. Like, this was all kind of premeditated. But anyway, so what's happened is that China's used this mostly, and I think that you guys find this the most interesting, is the amount of vitriol that they've created and pushed towards the West to humiliate the West in this situation.
Yeah.
You guys are hilarious. You failed in Afghanistan, blah, blah, blah. Where we're going to come in and build bridges, you blew them up, right? That type of thing.
Sure.
So we got some tweets here.
Do we?
We do.
They're coming.
We do. They're coming. I believe. You believe me? Okay. So this is from, you can read this from
Yeah,
Global
all right,
Times.
guys. This is really annoys the crap out of me. I'll read it for you. This is from the Global Times, which we all know is the most ridiculous state mouthpiece ever coming out of any country, you know? So, Global Times says, from what happened in Afghanistan, those in Taiwan should perceive that once a war breaks out in the Straits, the island's defense will collapse in hours and U.S. military won't come to help. As a result, the DPP will quickly surrender. So, what the Chinese state media is trying to say is, Taiwan, you think you're safe with the U.S. protecting you, but guess what? Look at what happened in Afghanistan. So if we want to take you over, the U.S. won't help you. You better be afraid.
Can you, maybe you can expound on this. Why is that fundamentally wrong?
Because it's not the same thing.
No.
America's not pulling out of Taiwan. America's there to help. We're talking about a completely different set of circumstances here. You know, not only that, but Taiwan is well defended. You've got international allies there with warships and stuff ready to help out if this happens. It's not the same deal. It's just absolute crap.
Do you know what they've done in this tweet? And this is unfortunate for you, CCP. You really need to get your wolf warriors back on their leash and put them in their cages, because what you've effectively done is, number one, you just recognized Taiwan as a separate state.
Yeah.
And number two, you just compared China with the Taliban.
Yes, that's actually very true. You compared China to the Taliban, and you are absolute morons once again. So what is this other thing that's popping out over here in the tweet? It says, Once a cross-straits war breaks out, while the mainland seizes the island with forces, the US would have to have a much greater determination than it had for Afghanistan, Syria, and Vietnam if it wants to interfere.
Now, what I want to tell you is, this is no, and again, if you guys are watching, this is no slight to you guys, but a lot of people reached out to me and were sending me this, and I was laughing at it.
Yeah.
They were concerned, and they were like, you know what? They're absolute. I'm gonna give them Southern accents. They're absolutely right. You know, we're not gonna help Taiwan. It's a shame because we're a cuck country now, and we're falling apart. They actually believe this stuff. This is the dumbest shit I've ever read in my life. I mean, like, if you got to pay more attention, guys. Don't be duped by Chinese propaganda. This equivalency doesn't even make sense. It quite literally doesn't make sense.
Don't forget that Vietnam kicked China's ass in the 70s, just like Vietnam kicks everyone's ass.
Okay? Yeah. Also, you have to look at the different goals, right?
Of course.
The goal of taking out Al-Qaeda is different than the goal of removing the Taliban, right? Taiwan is not Afghanistan.
No.
Right? Taiwan is literally fortified to stop a Chinese invasion with Western ally support, not just America.
Yes.
With Western ally. We have Germany, France, we have warships from all these countries going to the South China Sea right now to stage.
Yeah, even the UK.
Even the UK.
Yeah.
They are staging right now. China, the reason I want people to stop freaking out about stuff like this is, guys, you fell into the trap. This is quite literally invented to demoralize you.
Yeah.
The West is going to stand up for Taiwan. I don't know why you're believing China and saying that we're not going to. The pullout of Afghanistan was premeditated. This wasn't like, oh, today we're going to pull out, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to be tomorrow, China's going to take over Taiwan. We're not going to go help. You understand, this is another buffer that they can put in between not invading Taiwan. This is what they do over and over again. They're not going to invade Taiwan.
No, they just keep blustering about it.
Maybe later. Not now.
They want to scare them into surrender or something.
Yeah, I mean, that's what they think.
Doesn't work.
There's another, this is another, it shows you what loose cannons they are. The advantage that we have, like, of Chinese state media here, I made a joke here. When I read The Art of War,
yes,
I guess I missed a chapter where it said, show all of your cards to your enemy on Twitter.
Yes.
So anyway, go to the next tweet here. The advantage we have with Chinese state media is it actually represents the state.
It does.
Whereas, like, if I pulled up, like, the Daily Star tabloid and it said, like, aliens, like, ate my baby in the CCP's dungeon or something.
Sure.
If I see that at supermarket, I can look at that and say, that's ridiculous, right? It's a tabloid. Or I can look at another thing and be like, I don't trust that source. Or I can, Whereas, I mean, the Chinese state media literally has to be approved by the state censorship board.
It does.
To reflect the opinion of the Chinese government.
Yeah.
So a politician in the U.S. put out this tweet or something by accident and said that there's 30,000 troops in Taiwan. He was actually referring to pre-1979 where the U.S. was stationed. My grandpa was there.
There are not 30,000 troops.
No.
Yeah.
We with the One China agreement under Nixon, we pulled them out. Right?
Sure.
So anyway, it was an erroneous.
Good job, Nixon.
Good job, Nixon.
You really nixed that.
You nixed that one.
Yeah.
Anyway, he pulled it, obviously, or whatever. There's a correction made. But China immediately ran.
Yeah.
Like, at a mistake. It's a typo from, like, not even a massive politician or anything.
Sure.
And they said, if there are truly 30,000 troops in Taiwan, U.S. troops in Taiwan, it's believed that China will immediately put the anti-secession law into use and destroy and expel U.S. troops in Taiwan by military means and realize reunification by force.
Yeah.
You can read the black part.
It says, the U.S. stationing troops in the Taiwan island is equivalent to a military invasion and occupation of the Taiwan province of China. It is an act of declaring war on the People's Republic of China, which, of course, we all know is all based on this one mistake. Someone put a typo. They made a typo.
Now we got threats of war.
Yeah, exactly.
Holy shit, guys. I said put it back in your pants.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys need to calm down. I thought the Wolf Warrior thing was supposed to stop. Xi Jinping literally said stop.
He did say stop, but I guess he changed his idea.
Yeah, I think
he was
so.
like, nah,
Losing
you know
battle.
what? Yeah, we kind of suck. Let's do it again. Yep.
So anyway, that's like kind of a rundown of what's going on. China's going ape, and they're also kind of trying to backtrack now because they got bad optics with the domestic populace with the Taliban thing.
Yeah, that's right. What do we have next?
They're trying to put out memes. They can't. Yeah. China can't meme.
No, they're pretty bad
the Chinese
at that.
government.
Yeah.
They're like, look at the Chinese embassy versus the U.S. embassy.
Yeah.
Chinese netizen, this is Hu Xijin, he's a Global Times editor.
Yes.
He says, Chinese netizens joke that the power transition in Afghanistan is even more smooth than the presidential transition in the U.S.
Well, I just don't remember people being beheaded.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, we had that meeting. That was 3 weeks before.
Yeah.
So this was planning. This is a bit of propaganda on the left. The guy says, since this is CCTV, right?
Yeah.
They go, since the you can pause it there actually.
Yeah, well,
he goes, since the CCTV goes, since the Taliban has taken over, do you feel scared? And the guy's like, no, I don't feel scared.
Yeah, exactly.
They like walked around to prove their point.
It's so ridiculous.
The Taliban's takeover, CCP said, take us out of there. I can't see.
Oh yeah, sorry. We respect the choices of the Afghan people, is what the CCP said. Because I guess it was the Afghan people's choice for the Taliban to take over.
Remember when the Taliban was democratically elected?
Yeah, I remember that part.
Interesting. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. So
that was their choice.
What did the commie bunch have to say?
Well, I have a prediction. Nothing yet.
All right.
Would you agree with me? The commie bunch, these guys are these Western CCP shills that are quickly losing their reputation, by the way.
Yeah, a couple of them are no longer in the picture anymore, really.
Yeah, unfortunately. They've
Floppy hat vegetable lord took a bit of a duck.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
no longer on the ground.
Yeah.
So I guess he's going to be vanning around or something.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Van Wilder.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, so the commie bunch, these are the guys that
Communist Ninja
yeah,
disappeared.
he disappeared.
Oh, I wonder why.
These guys, they are all over YouTube.
Yes.
And they go and they put out videos that promote the CCP.
Yes.
Now the commie bunch, this is my prediction.
Yeah.
They're going to have to, and we've predicted their actions multiple times, that they would go to Xinjiang and say there's no genocide.
And
Remember
they did.
we called that?
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Because they have to.
Yeah.
Right? They basically get told what they're allowed to do in China. You had these guys. You had the guy in the top left there. He actually this guy went to Xinjiang and went to a school. He got access to all these like secret places
Sure.
that you can't go and talk to like imams and go to school and be like, there's absolutely no genocide here.
No, it's not
like
genocide.
So
It's just
fucked
Western
up.
propaganda.
Yeah, it's really fucked up.
Yeah.
Anyway, they do this because either it's fun for them, it's like maybe they're psychopaths. They actually that guy's a psychopath.
Absolute psychopath.
The other ones, I think sometimes they're just duped by the money and
they get to go on free
dinners,
trips. Travel around and get to see cool stuff.
So my prediction, and mirror me if you
Yeah.
think I'm right, I think that they're going to start supporting the Taliban.
I think so too. I think they're going to say how much better the Taliban is at dealing with Afghanistan than the USA is going to be their first thing, and how the Taliban is actually really good and a good ally to China and all this kind of stuff. They're going to start supporting the Taliban. I bet you they are, if they haven't already.
Yeah, because it's kind of what you have to do, right?
So prove us wrong. But if any of these guys start talking about how the Taliban is a good thing, then, it'll be a bit of a funny thing for us to bring up in the future.
Yeah.
Pieces of scum. These guys are such scum. Anyway.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Cool. So, let's move on, right? Is it time for us to hit our next segment? Not yet. Sorry.
Oh, I wanted to give you some tanky, what tankies are saying.
Yeah. Guys, remember, tankies are people that like unequivocally support communist governments, and they're usually Westerners, and they want the West to fall and become communist.
Yes.
You know,
you can read this wonderful tweet.
I'll read this wonderful tweet. Of course, these are not our words. Okay, it says, the Taliban has done so much for women, such as boosting their literacy rates to levels never before seen in Afghanistan, and creating sexual harassment prevention programs. The so-called US has done none of these things.
Now, hopefully this is parody. But
This has to be a parody. There's
I
no
certainly
way
have
this
to-
is true.
So, I have seen things like this coming from the CCP.
Yeah.
It's justification and glorification of the Taliban.
Yeah.
And I think my prediction is that the shills will be doing that as well.
Probably, yeah.
Anyway, not to focus on them too much, we just wanted to wrap it up that a lot of this projectionism about that's supporting the Taliban is trying to scare Taiwan.
Yeah.
And it's trying to scare the U.S. and Western powers into thinking that they won't help Taiwan.
I can't believe that they jumped on this tragic event and what's going on in Afghanistan and used it for their propaganda against Taiwan.
Yeah.
Absolute scumbags.
Yeah.
Here you can see the Taiwanese Defense Force doing some training.
Yeah.
You know, we're not dealing with a complete toothless dog here. We're dealing with a well-trained, populace.
Yes.
And everyone...
That Beijing claims.
Yeah, Beijing claims. And what are we looking at the China side here for? What's going on here?
Oh, it's just Beijing claiming Taiwan.
Oh yeah,
just explaining.
Okay.
You know. Anyway, we've covered that enough.
We have. I think it's time for us to move on, guys. We're going to go answer a couple of super chats, and then we'll go into our Wumao corner, which is actually a really good one.
Yeah. Nyan Ray says, "Bring on the badass beats," and we did. And I hope the Ford Detrick one is probably out of all the CCP raps so far. Would you say it's your least favorite?
Yeah, it's boring.
So shit.
It's so boring.
Like the remix of the water drinking.
So bad. It's just terrible. Yeah.
It's terrible, guys. Janky Ramen says, currently visiting family. I told them all about the CCP and showed them your channels, and their minds were blown. Thank you for all they do. Thank you. Fel Nun says, greetings from Estonia again. Pomp de Bier. Keepies. And finished another video just in time for you.
Excellent.
Andrew L says, LMAO vitamin G.
What is that?
Probably some sort of rap name.
Okay.
Cesario JPN says, should we start a betting pool on how long it'll take the Taliban to turn on the CCP?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a very grim bet, but yeah, it's bound to happen if things are going to go the way.
It will happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jerry Huang says, morning here from Australia. Love your work. Looking forward to you visiting here and meeting you two in person.
Thank you.
And then there's Jayo, and then there's some Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
Esther Santos says, hey guys, great job. Greetings from New Jersey.
Thank you.
Thank you. Koala1203 says, hashtag justice for Afghanistan with a prior Afghan flag.
Mm-hmm.
Dennis Stafford, thank you. Dan Cacciatore, rare earth minerals will make China and the Taliban BFF. Military friends are trying to get their translators and families out, SIV holders out.
Yeah.
Hope one day to introduce you to them. In your and their honor, I'm enjoying a Kraft Nut Brown Ale.
That sounds interesting. Kraft Nut Brown Ale.
Crack your nuts on that brown ale.
Well, I mean, it's probably quite tasty.
Yeah. Jeremy Lim says green spray paint equals bullshit. Shit equals fertilizer. Maybe that's what your friend meant.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
that green spray paint stuff is just so China. It's all about facing a facade. So, you got... Whenever an official comes in, they clean up the streets. They get rid of all the food carts and things that are always there. Homeless people, they ship them out back to their hometowns. They spray paint the grass green, for goodness sake. But as soon as that official's out of there, it goes back to normal.
Correct. Power Shift says, Chairman Xi has an adult movie. It's called Ryan the Reamer, Rough Rider of Randy's Red Spot.
Wow. That's quite the name.
Benjamin Wood, keep up the good work, guys, down at the CCP.
Mm-hmm.
Thomas J, greetings from Lithuania. Big fan of Lithuania right now.
Yes.
Been watching you both for years. Keep up the great work you guys do. I was thinking about a merch.
Keep up the great work.
You know how they have the Be Water thing?
Yes.
What I want Be Lithuania.
Be Lithuania.
But I want to ask Lithuanians: is there a word there's a word in Finnish which is sisu, which means courage, some sort of courage. Does Lithuania have a phrase? Because it would be cool to have a Chinese version of that phrase and have Be Lithuania, stand up to tyranny.
Maybe Lithuanian courage, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But don't say Lithuania. It's got to be a word that they would use that we could translate into Chinese for merch.
I
think that'd be really cool.
That'd be great.
Let me know, Lithuanians. Send us an email or something, or put it on the subreddit.
Yeah.
Actually, we could get some merch design ideas and pop it out there because you guys have been begging for merch.
Yeah. Should we hit our next section?
Just quick.
Okay.
Tacit Turn Made in China. Tommy Key 07. Thank you.
Thank you.
Saptarshi Sengupta. Fake bricks symbolize the BRICS as an alliance.
Yes, there we go.
And Cubase616 says Chinese are the best racers in the world because they're experts in cutting corners. Lol.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
So, we're now going to move on to Wumao Corner, guys, where we talk about, kind of hate and stuff. But this time it's a victory. This is an actual victory. For those of you who've been following, we've spoken about this before on the channel. I actually made a video on my channel dedicated to these reporters, these state reporters. So, basically you've got CGTN, you've got CCTV, all these big state-run media companies. And they get labeled as state-affiliated media whenever they post on YouTube and Twitter and stuff, right? Which is good. You need that. You need to know that. You actually need to know that what you're reading is coming directly from the Chinese government because it prepares you. Because then it's probably going to be biased towards China and the CCP, right?
Yeah.
So they got kind of annoyed by this because their propaganda is less effective that way. Yes, it is. It's way, way, way less effective. So what they did was they got their reporters to distance themselves, to kind of pretend to be independent content creators, right? So you've got a whole bunch of pretty girls and various other people creating their own YouTube channels, creating their own little blogs, creating their Twitter accounts. and divorcing themselves from the media, but still spewing the exact same propaganda.
Yeah.
In fact, the same stuff they're putting on Twitter is the same stuff that they've been putting out.
Quite
on the
literally.
it's the same thing on the CGTN official website.
It's like the editors at CGTN made this for the show on CGTN, state
Yes.
media, and then they post the exact same thing.
They post the exact same thing. Maybe they had leave a watermark out
Right.
or whatever.
But
And
it's the same shit.
It's the exact same thing. So then Twitter, YouTube, etc. doesn't label them as state-affiliated media, and they can get away from that. So now when they're putting it like, oh, I'm just a young girl who's like going around talking about like the Xinjiang genocide or whatever, that's my own personal channel. And so then it's seen as personal. Anyway.
Twitter
here's-
removed the Guli girl.
Got rid of them.
Remember them?
Now this is a big good one over here. Look, Jingjing Li is has got a little thing underneath her name. Can you see?
Yeah.
Says China state-affiliated media.
Someone's sour about that. So what happened was there was enough evidence, obviously, for Twitter. They have these guys that go on to do info verification.
Yeah.
There's enough info where they're like, holy shit. And we saw a bunch of Chinese dissidents. They were tweeting at Twitter. Look
Yeah.
at this account. This is literally state propaganda.
Yeah, I was doing it too because the whole point of this is they take advantage of Western media, social media, and it pisses me off, all right? Because when you are a journalist working for the Chinese government and you are only posting Chinese government propaganda, you need to have that affiliation. If you're a journalist but your Twitter is all about like, oh, I'm wearing this fashion today, or I went to go like have an ice cream or whatever, that's fine, that's personal, it's different.
Sure.
But if you're only posting your state-sponsored propaganda stuff that has been made by the state, you are state-affiliated media. And it pisses me off that they get away with this and use our own social media against us for soft power.
Correct.
Right? So I kept posting. Anyway, finally, I'll read you what she said. She said, I have this Twitter account for 10 years now, and I started long before I started my current job with CGTN. I use it to share my views, my personal life, and my work. But yesterday, Twitter decided to give me this label. Badge of honor, I guess.
I'll tell you why this is damning. This is a problem, I mean, maybe less for her, but more for the Chinese government, because the Chinese government creates these entities.
Yes.
They create these accounts to make it, like you said, make it look like, oh, this is just someone's normal life. By the way, we're going to sneak in propaganda. Yeah. All of that effort is wasted when that badge comes on.
Yes.
When that, what's it called? A title.
Yeah, exactly. It's a title.
Chinese state-affiliated media will tell you this is quite literally the Chinese government operating social media.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I put a little response to that. I said, it's about time since you actually use your Twitter account to post state CCP propaganda, and it is in no way a personal account. You use it to spread and support your government work. I'm glad Twitter is waking up to this submersive infiltration. All right, and just to prove that I'm not talking nonsense here, I also said, thank you, Twitter, for finally recognizing official Chinese state-affiliated reporters for what they are. At least people can be forewarned that they are reading biased state content.
And again, we've never said remove all Chinese state propaganda.
No,
I personally think that on Western media platforms, if you're going to use freedom of speech, that country should allow people to use it in their own nation.
Yeah.
But it's a slippery slope, because then people that use VPNs, they want to share their opinions, right? That should be allowed. The problem is, when you have state accounts like this, you should at least have this label. I'm not saying silence.
Just to show you, this is what her normal posts are. Okay, so she has a post, her pinned tweet is actually, new video, I hit the streets in Urumqi, #Xinjiang a month ago. Look at all the oppression there. Unbelievable. And then it's showing her like state-sponsored trip where she's like going and look, there's no oppression. There's no genocide. The Uyghurs are happy. Okay, that's definitely state-sponsored propaganda.
Yes.
That whole trip, we know it was a CGTN trip because some of the shills went along with her.
Yeah, they're in that.
Floppy Hat Vegetable Lord was there
Yeah.
doing this along with her. We know it's a paid CCP organized trip. Then another one that she's got, also just August 18th, a couple of days ago. The regional GDP in #Tibet grew from 71 billion yuan to 190.3 billion from 2012 to 2020. Growth rate of residential income ranked #1 in #China for 6 years. Population doubled. Tibetans accounted for 90%. A remarkable progress. Happy 70th anniversary of peaceful liberation of Tibet. Okay, guys, if you cannot see that for being propaganda, then you're a moron, okay? What kind of a personal account goes out and says, oh, look at the GDP increase and look at the wealthness and all this. It's
as a reporter for the Chinese government.
Exactly. It's like if you were a federal agent and you go to like a Indian reservation, it's like, look at the birth rates increased exponentially. The wealth income gap has been decreased.
Don't listen to what you've been told.
The Apache reservations, everything is great. Hashtag congratulations on 100 odd or 300 odd years of reservation life. That is not a personal account.
No.
Okay?
No.
It's state-sponsored propaganda.
Yeah.
So to try to pretend that this was a personal account for so long is just a farce. And it's good that they finally woke up. And
There's
this is
a lot
what
more
we
to
need.
do, though. There's a lot more.
It wasn't just her. There's another one as well, Serena or whatever her name is, that also got this label, which is good.
So what I wanted to say, and we like to have actionable consequence, right?
Yes.
And our actionable consequence here is that Twitter did the right thing.
Finally.
Right? YouTube needs to do the right thing now.
They need to
and
do that.
this is not a personal beef, but you know the commie bunch that we showed before?
Yeah,
These
there are
Western
more of them.
shills. When they work for the Chinese government. They
do.
literally on the roster for CGTN. They recruit for CGTN.
They
which is state
appear
media.
on CGTN.
They appear on that. They do shows with them. They're clearly getting paid. It's not volunteer work.
No.
If you're on Chinese state media and you're reposting that media and you're a personality on that and you're on their payroll or their roster, then I also agree. I didn't say you need to take down their material, but you need to have Chinese state affiliated media on the YouTube videos.
Absolutely.
Is that too much to ask?
Apparently so.
It's not fair.
Especially when it's provable, 100%
Correct.
provable.
It is. It'd take you 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But there's no forum on YouTube to report something like that.
Yeah.
I'm not reporting. I don't want people to mass flag. I don't want people to go out there and try to destroy someone's livelihood. But I want transparency for Chinese state affiliated media on Western platforms when those platforms are banned by the Chinese government. They are operating past the firewall that they set up to block their own citizens so that they can't integrate with us and talk to us.
Yeah.
And then use that for their own state propaganda censorship.
Yes.
Right? So how is that allowed to not have the same label? Twitter did the right thing here.
about
YouTube,
time.
you need to step up and do that too. You do it for they do it for CGTN, the channel, but they don't do it for the channels that work for them.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, we need more of this, just so people can be forewarned.
Right.
You know, and you would expect if the federal government of America had their own sponsored channels out there to get the same.
Agreed.
You know?
I mean, it should be everywhere, right?
Yeah, it should be. Anyway, that's our Woolmile corner, and I guess we're just going to move straight into. Are we going to do some super chats or just do worldview?
I'll just do worldview.
We're going to do worldview. We'll muscle through the super chats at the end. Worldview is where we talk about the world, but specifically to do with China. So what have we got this time around? We got something a little interesting.
A little history, yeah.
Okay.
You can explain.
This poster that you see here, for those of you at home, is two very stylish young Chinese people dancing at a disco.
1986 propaganda.
This came out in 1986, and the reason this came out in 1986 is it was the year where they kind of lifted the ban on discos in China, and it was no longer considered a Western decadence, right? Because don't forget, during the bad old commie days, this kind of thing was banned because it was seen as Western decadence, right?
Correct.
So it's kind of interesting just to remember how recent it was that China actually opened up. 1986, I was 6 years old, all right, when discos were finally unbanned in China. It's kind of crazy to think.
Yeah.
And now within my lifetime, things are going back, where
Yeah.
Western stuff is being seen as bad.
Quite literally.
They are banning Western
Textbooks.
textbooks, Western education, all this kind of stuff. Western influence is now being... Xi Jinping is trying to get rid of Western influence, and it's definitely going to filter down into fashion and lifestyle. It hasn't just yet,
Yeah.
but it will.
Oh, it will.
It will. And it's sad to see such a regression in such a short amount of time. People keep going on about what a miracle it is that China raised everyone out of poverty and raised up real quick. It's a miracle at how quickly they shut it all down.
That's the miracle.
That's the miracle.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, if you haven't realized this, the economic miracle was China actually allowing capitalism.
Yes.
Companies set up in China. It became a manufacturing hub. They got wealthy enough until they started to realize, oh crap, we can't do this forever. We're going to lose control. Then they shut down again. That's what you're seeing.
Yeah,
It's
they
cyclical.
allowed foreign investors to
And now
come in.
they're leaving. You understand? It's just a cycle.
Yeah.
Right. China's not going to be Japan. It's not going to be Taiwan. It's shutting down again. Look at the stock market right now, and you'll see your answer.
Yeah, you can go and take a look in that and see what's going on there. It's crazy. All these big so-called private companies in China being shut down by the CCP and being controlled and all that kind of stuff. Look what happened to Didi.
Yeah.
You know? And Alibaba and all that. It's pretty scary stuff.
So we thought this is interesting, and I'll tell you why. Because that law of Western decadence law, it still exists.
Yeah, it does.
And it actually exists with, believe it or not, with golf courses.
Yes.
So golf is actually technically banned in China.
It is.
This was not a reversed law. It was made by Chairman Mao, who saw golf as a Western decadence. He must have not been in the same line of thinking as the Kim family, because Kim Jong-il managed to... He shot a 19 on an 18-hole course.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
One hole, he didn't get all in one.
Yeah, exactly.
And Kim Jong-un, also a big fan. But anyway, Mao banned it under the Western decadence law, saying that it was a bourgeoisie thing, right? Mm-hmm. The funny thing is...
Honestly, there's that, what's it called, Mission Hills golf course? I went up there, I stayed in the hotel there, and I actually went and did some training up there at some point. And it was very nice up there. It's really decked out. But at the same time, it is like it was up there near Dongguan and stuff. And you see the pollution?
I was just about to say.
It was bad. When I was up there, it was like a beautiful golf course, but it was like, you may as well just not have it here. Because the factory pollution near Dongguan, you couldn't even see in front of you.
So I play golf, right?
Yeah.
I play golf for, 15, 20 years. So I pay $20, $30 a round. Right, in America. It's not expensive. Right. Now, in China, when I went to the golf course I was invited to in Huizhou, it was something like $1,000-something to go out on the course just to walk.
It's a very exclusive thing in China.
What is this? And nobody knew how to play golf on them. Anyway, these golf courses are actually banned, but so you say, why do they exist? Well, they actually get shut down all the time.
Yeah.
So if they don't pay the right bribe, then they basically get demolished. So this law is selectively enforced. And I actually think it's usually selectively enforced by competing golf courses.
I think so too. Yeah, they know who to like rub up the wrong way. Or
right. Typical hypocrisy of China.
It's kind of interesting to think that a lot of these horrible laws and things that were in place in China, they're still there, but they've just been ignored. And they had been ignored for this whole opening up period. But I think they did that on purpose so that they could just, when they wanted to, just turn it on again.
Yeah.
They didn't abolish them.
It's quite clear.
Yeah. They're just like, okay, it's time.
Yeah.
What you've been doing has been illegal for the last 20 years.
Right.
We're going to put you in jail now.
That's right.
There we go.
Is that it there?
That's it.
I believe.
Yeah.
I can't remember if there's anything else at the end. Oh, yeah. I do have one more thing.
What's that? Okay.
I wanted to give you guys the TikTok Saga update.
Oh, yes. Before we hit our Q&A.
So here's the deal. I've been posting on TikTok, and all I've been doing is either taking clips from our show or from my YouTube channel, and I wanted to see what would happen. So the theory is that...
These, by the way, sorry to break you up, remember these in China?
Yeah.
Dude, this is just a thermos... No, it's actually a Zojirushi.
Right.
It's a Japanese brand, but it's made in Thailand.
Right.
Well, there goes, I thought it was good quality all of a sudden. But no, Thailand stuff's good. They make hard drives and things. No, anyway, this is just a flask. I've got coffee in it. If you're wondering, I'm not drinking a brandy and Coke or anything like that. Not today, anyway. There's coffee in this. But I didn't want to buy one of these when I got here. I've been scared of these because they are so overpriced in China.
Expensive.
You go to Oleo, one of those big supermarkets, and they're selling them for thousands of RMB.
Yeah, they're like hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
Why?
I have no idea. I always thought that there was something very exclusive about these. These little, you pop this thing, and I thought that wow, that's rich man.
I was like,
stuff.
that's decadence, Western decadence over here. Japanese
it's only
decadence.
$20 or $30 or something here. I was like,
so
what?
cheap. Yeah.
When I saw it on Amazon or whatever, I'm like, okay, I'm definitely buying one of those. Look at me, I'm all posh.
Yeah.
If I went to China with this,
people would be
walk around and be like, hey, look what I got.
Yeah, my father-in-law has one of those, and he was showing off with it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's like, what the hell? It's just kind of a weird, bizarre thing.
It is.
People who live in China will know. If you go to Olay or BLT or whatever, those big supermarkets, there's a dedicated shelf to these things.
They're like,
and they start at 380 RMB and they go up to the thousands. And you're like, what the hell? Anyway, just thought it.
Yeah. No,
sorry to break it up.
No, it's all right. So I've been posting. I posted a total of 10 videos now.
Yeah.
And they're all the stuff that you can find on my channel or what we're talking about right now.
Yeah.
And it started out for them getting removed for hate speech. Right?
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell? So I appealed them. They got reversed, but then age restricted. Even though there's no swearing, there's no nudity. It's just comedic stuff talking about the CCP.
Yeah, but that's the key, is that it's always poking fun at the Chinese Communist Party. And remember, TikTok is owned by the Chinese.
Well, so the theory is that it's now an American company.
Yeah.
And that China can't do anything for content moderation.
Yeah.
Well, tell me this. Why out of 10 videos, 5 of them have now been removed for hate speech? And this one was removed for hate speech and illegal activities and regulated goods, which means drugs.
Right.
You know what the video was about?
What was it about?
This video was about white monkey jobs in China. It's quite literally about like you being paid to not be Chinese in China, right?
Yeah.
There's no drugs. There's nothing in it. Hate speech. That was removed within 1 second of me posting it. It used to take like hours because mass flagging with the bot accounts.
Right.
All of the comments on there, I'm harvesting all of them. All of the comments are these CCP bots.
Right.
They're mass flagging like crazy. And now when I post anything, it immediately goes down. Now my account's banned for 2 days.
Okay.
So I've had half of my material removed. And I get removed for hate speech when I post. You know what one of my videos was we should support Chinese people and the athletes in the Olympics because they worked hard, but we shouldn't support the Chinese government because of human rights abuses. Didn't talk about what they were.
Yeah.
It was just a clip. Hate speech. That's hate speech. So, is TikTok really an American enterprise now using their own content moderation rules?
No.
I say fucking no way.
Absolutely not.
And a massive expose coming. I'm harvesting everything. And TikTok, this is not a warning or anything, but seriously consider shaping up your moderation game, because this is going to look really bad when a bunch of YouTubers come out and show exactly how this operates, because it's only anti-CCP content.
Yes.
It's only anti-CCP. It's nothing else.
You can have anti-USA.
Oh, yeah. All
want.
day. There's literally thousands of these videos.
Yeah. Guys, I mean, this is something we're keeping an eye on.
Yeah.
And I hope everybody out there realizes what we just showed you with the Twitter thing.
Yeah.
It's a huge success. And we're
Yeah.
not claiming that's our success,
No.
by the way. But we are very happy. It's a huge success. We need to see more of this. Chinese state organs and Chinese state using Western social media to shape the minds of people overseas is a huge problem.
It is.
And now we're shining a spotlight on it. Not
Yep.
only YouTube, Twitter, but TikTok and any other kind of social media that everybody watches. When we see the Chinese Communist Party at play, we're going to bring it to you so that you can be educated about it.
Correct.
Yeah.
People are saying, like, just make a video and say hi and see if you get flagged. I can't. I'm banned. But when my ban is up, I'm going to be toying with it even more.
Absolutely.
Okay, so anyway, it's time to do some Q&A.
It's our Q&A section, guys, where we answer your questions and you question our answers. And this, for me anyway, is the most fun part of the show. We've got a lot to get through. Let's hit it.
Yeah, WildFX says, hey, gentlemen, I was in Shenyang, China, visiting my family and noticed a lot of these brand new buildings looking nice from afar, but far from nice. Big gaps in the walls, framing the windows don't quite fit that well, of course. It's very standard.
Anyone who's into construction who goes to China will be horrified.
Yeah.
It's really bad. And look, even the shills will have to admit that, you know, because they all have to live in Chinese apartments. Unless you're living in a very swank one, you know, you're going to experience a lot of issues. Cracks in the walls, the plumbing is just terrible and substandard. Everything about it's pretty bad.
He also says he misses evil uncles with the sound, and he appreciates you talking to him on WeChat.
Thanks, man.
Chase Kavanaugh says, keep it up, guys. Ross Wolf says, YouTube won't let me send a super chat insulting Ryan Seacrest in Chinese.
Wow.
Not sure if it's the content, the Chinese, or the swear words. Probably the swear words. The swear words are definitely censored. No, they are. They're definitely censored.
Okay.
Sorry, man. Try to get around that.
Ryan Seacrest. I love that.
Ryan Seacrest.
Yeah.
Return to Orc Monkey. We can agree to disagree on some of the U.S. COVID measures, but there's no comparison between them and China's tyrannical bullshit. Yeah. Still love you guys, though. Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have very strong opinions about masks, and I mean, crying out loud, we put out that Worthless Whips where we were wearing a mask in the car. They're like, what are you wearing a face diaper in the car for? I just bought the car from a guy who was coughing everywhere, okay?
Right.
I'm going to wear a mask, but that doesn't matter. I know people get all uppity about it, but that's because they've got so few problems in their lives that they need an issue. They need something to fight against. And guess what? They're like, oh, this evil piece of cloth. Oh
They
my
cut a hole
God.
in
Can't
evil. Breathe.
Hate masks. Fight the power, man. Just fight the power. Come on, shut up, you idiots. Like, I'm so tired of this shit.
Me too.
Okay, it's not bad.
No,
wear a
just
freaking mask.
Put a freaking mask on.
You don't have to wear it in your house. You don't have to wear it when you're walking around your garden. You don't have to wear it when you're hanging out with your friends and stuff.
No.
You're going into a freaking shop, put on a mask. It's not that
And it's
hard.
polite.
Yeah, be polite. That's what Americans are good at.
Remember that that there's 10 commandments in the Bible, right?
Yeah.
One of them isn't it like don't be a dick?
Pretty much. Yeah.
AVF says
Don't cover your neighbor's mask.
Yeah. 444.
Thanks, Ave. Dude, I got to tell you this quickly.
Sure.
In South Africa, there's this black guy I knew, and his name was Ave. So I was thinking, like, this guy must have, I don't know, had some pretty sophisticated parents, to call him Ave. And I thought it was cool. I thought it was a freaking awesome name. So the guy's name's Ave, and, we were pretty good friends. And one day, I asked him out of curiosity, like, why are you called Ave? And it turns out that when his mom was pregnant and they had to rush to the hospital, okay? So she's pregnant, she's about to burst. They hop in the car, they're driving, and she actually gave birth to him in the car. And they looked up, and the street sign was whatever Avenue, and so they just called him Ave because AVE,
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like,
right.
okay, wow, that's interesting.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Anyway, it's still kind of interesting.
He also says Hassan Piker is an ADV fan. He's like a Twitch streamer.
Oh, cool.
That's cool. He's famous too.
That's great.
Phil, guys, what do you think are the chances of a modern day Red Scare in the near future in the U.S.? Also, don't forget Taiwan #1. I don't think, with a wealth of information we have and people able to create nuance in their own minds and delineating things, it's not like this is bad because this. It's like you can actually come to the conclusion as to why.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's different. It's not going to be like Red Dawn.
No.
The factual documentary from the 80s?
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Tyler Durden 3333. Keep missing you guys at the new time, but I watch all your videos. Do you think people around the world are reasonably satisfied the virus came from China, despite all the crap and denials from the CCP?
I think if you have a modicum of common sense, you'll know that it came from China.
Everyone I talk to.
And it's not the fault of the Chinese people. It's the fault of the Chinese government and all their bullshit that they were doing there, manipulating viruses and stuff. Also that gain of function crap, and all the other stuff. So, a lot of people are to blame, but at the end of the day, it came from China. And there's no denying it.
No. And it is literally the fault of the central government.
Yes.
Oswald Spengler was right, says, do you find it suspicious that people don't do an antibody test before they give the vaccine to the people, when most recent study shows the vaccine offers no benefit to previously infected people? That's actually not true. The vaccine offers benefits for antibodies, especially the mRNA, to people that had either mild infections or infections that reoccur. So that's not true.
Okay, yeah, he's the medical expert.
I'm not an expert. It's just that's
You
misinformation.
used to always be a walking pharmacy, so you knew everything about all the tablets and what have you.
And you may make it sound like I did drugs.
No, but like literally.
I carried Tylenol in my pocket.
No, you carried like 8 different things. Like, I need a caffeine pill for this.
You got
that
was when we had no coffee.
You got it. Yeah, no, I'm just saying you had like a pocket pharmacy. It's like I've never seen that before.
But it's nothing illicit. I don't want people to
No.
idea.
He wasn't taking like hard drugs or anything.
No, literally Tylenol and ibuprofen
and whatever else.
Caffeine. Yeah, sometimes caffeine. Yeah. Don't overblow
So I'm
this.
like popping weird little pills on the side occasionally. I'm like, what's he doing? He'd be like,
I became everyone made fun of me until they needed a headache.
That's true. He always had something.
Yep. Presido says,
he'd be hanging around like, that's what you need. You know what I mean?
The brown ibuprofen or the white Tylenol.
Yeah, exactly.
You two are the best thing on YouTube. Keep up the good fight. May I suggest blind beer tasting of Mexican American beers to prove Winston right?
Yes, I think that's great because it'll be easy to tell if it's an American beer because it'll be an IPA.
Well, there's plenty of bland American beers.
Oh, I like that. Well,
see, bland is good, huh?
Yeah, but no, it's no, not like insipid. But what is Samuel Adams? What's that? Is that American? Sam Adams?
Sam Adams, yeah.
Is that American?
Yeah, Boston.
That's pretty good.
Oh, you like it? That's bitter.
No, it's not.
It's very bitter.
No, they have a summer ale.
Oh, they're ale. They have lots of different kinds.
Okay.
Boston Lager you would hate.
Yeah.
It's very bitter.
Do they have like a weird accent? Boston or whatever?
Ask them. I mean, they're colonialists.
Yeah, coffee or whatever.
Dumping tea off of ships and stuff. I didn't think they talked like that back then.
Okay.
Well, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't have any vocal samples from
exactly.
the tea party or whatever.
Exactly.
Anyway.
It would be kind of funny. Imagine a guy like, pushing a red coat aside, just Boston, throwing like tea in the...
Boston, get out of here.
Get out of here with your tea. Yeah,
Levi Grant says...
I'll take the crumpets, though.
Yes. And he's wearing like a freaking Boston Celtics NBA jersey.
Yeah, singing like Come On Eileen or whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
Weird place. Anyway.
Levi Grant says not having the ability to choose...
No, Sweet Caroline, not Come On. It's Sweet Caroline, that's the one. Yeah.
What to put on your face. In some cases, what goes into your own body is not your own freedom. It doesn't matter what China does. Kenshin 891 can't decide if Fort Detrick or the anti-THAAD rap is more cringe. Also, they are pretending gain of function is a buzzword or something. Well, the anti-THAAD rap is much better.
Yeah.
The Fort Detrick is so bad. It's definitely loses. Terrible. Whoever did that, you should be ashamed of yourself.
I agree.
Or be ashamed of the government that only gave you like 6 hours to make it.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. Yeah. Shit rap.
Yeah. Ross Wolf says that rap was written by the real Shin Shady.
Shin Shady. Very cool.
Akosha, thank you very much.
Yeah, welcome.
Cesario JPN, Wu-Tang Clan should sue Wuhan Clan for soiling their good name with a really bad rap video.
Yeah.
Wilson Edwards, what's your grudge towards C-Rap? Absolutely not grudge. C-Rap is fine.
Yes.
We're talking about political rap.
Yeah, the political C-Rap. Yeah.
Click on run. Have you seen the report where there was normal cell phone signals around the lab, and then suddenly a month before the virus broke, 6 blocks around the lab, the cell signals went to 0? I did not see that.
No, that's quite interesting.
Yeah, if it's true.
That's, you see, there's always some or another way to figure out what happened.
Yeah.
Other different metrics you can look at like that. So,
yeah. Well, if it's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Norman Flair says Xi's successor is screwed over. Afghanistan Taliban will shoot CCP in the back when it tries to collect on debt. They won't be able to withdraw to save face, probably.
Yeah, well, it's not going to be good.
No. Atheist Maximus says, is there a rural city divide in China like there is in the U.S.? Much bigger than in the U.S.
I mean, I've just recently come back from a pretty rural part of America, and we'll be telling you all what I was doing there in due time. But it's bizarre to me. There's a big divide, but it's bizarre to me how you can get along with people from the cities and from the rural areas all pretty easily.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And you can go into like a Walmart in the middle of nowhere and it's got exactly the same crap as a downtown New York City or something. You know what I mean? It's all there. It's a weird kind of setup. So yeah, there's not a huge divide. Obviously there is a divide, but in China it's like chalk and cheese. For instance, there are no shops in the rural areas that sell the same things that you get in the big city. They're completely different. You can't get certain services and certain goods in the rural areas just to start out with. And the people are dirt poor for the most part. Many of them illiterate and that kind of thing. It's such a huge difference. I mean, you just have to see it for yourself, really.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Hi says CCP should put all their raps and songs on a single YouTube channel. They should, but they sometimes take them down. We've noticed they unlist them.
Yeah,
because they get embarrassed.
They do.
Government water is fluoride free and non-fluoridated. What?
Oh no!
Don't do fluoride. Don't do fluoride. Conspiracy stuff here, please. Yeah. I personally love fluoride. That's why my teeth don't have cavities. Jordan Thomas, did you see Neil Blomkamp on Joe Rogan's podcast? No. Junko and
he's
Oshima.
That South African director or whatever.
Yeah.
Did like District 9.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
Junko says, I'm drunk. Had my heart ripped out by so many women. Once engaged, once an expectant father. Now nothing. Without you getting me into motorcycles, I don't know where I'd be. Thank you. Love China. Screw the CCP.
Yeah, man. Look, we all go through some awful stuff in life, but that's my slogan that I say at the end of all my videos, stay awesome. It's for moments like that when you're down in the dumps and, you think there's no way out of it. The only way to get through it is to stay awesome. In other words, just stay strong. And those times will eventually pass. They do pass.
Always do.
Doesn't matter how bad the situation.
Yeah.
Honestly, because
we've been through some real shit.
Yeah, some very, very, very bad things. You might think it's the end of the world. Maybe you have an incurable disease. Maybe you've a relationship. Maybe someone's died. It doesn't matter. Like a real bad situation. But you will come out of it on the other side.
Agreed.
So just stay awesome and you'll be okay. And thank you for your support, mate.
Thank you. Patrick T says, how is Taiwan's brand of democracy different from other countries like the Canada or the U.S.? It's a little more representative.
Yeah.
More enthusiastic. Alan Williamson, CCP tankies are not your friends. That's for sure. Akosha, another awesome another awesome have a beer on me, and it's got a milk dog.
The milk dog, sweet.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, if you're a member, if you join, you'll get these sweet emojis like the milk dog.
They're so sweet. You
Thanks.
can put them in your tea.
You can put them in your tea. Thanks, Socrates. You guys rock. Thanks for what you do. Saptarshi says the protests are happening in Balochistan, which is a separatist movement within Pakistan. The CPEC passes straight through Balochistan, and the Baloch people are not happy about CCP stealing their jobs.
Exactly, because the CCP does steal the jobs. That's the thing. They import the labor.
Right.
I wish people would understand, because it does sound really good on paper. Yeah,
Yeah.
we're going to build infrastructure, but we'll hire locals to do the job and create jobs. But they don't. They just don't.
No.
That's the thing.
Jennifer says China has their eye on hundreds of billions of dollars worth of copper underneath an ancient Silk Road city being excavated. In Mes Ainek.
Okay.
Julian Kolbis says, Sea Milk, what's so bad about the Chinese government isn't the left part, it's the authoritarian part. That's correct. I didn't say that. These are two independent variables. Being super far left doesn't mean you approve of the CCP, and I understand that, but I'm saying that the people that are super far left, that do support the CCP, exhibit the attributes that I said.
Yeah.
Tacit Turn, funding terrorism is nothing new for the CCP. Their support of Boko Haram is worth looking at. The CCP support of Boko Haram.
Interesting.
Well, we all know that Beach Boys hit, right?
Yeah.
Boko Haram.
Boko Haram. You know, I was showing Sea Milk South Africa on Street View, and I wanted to show him Hillbrow.
Yeah.
And Hillbrow is a pretty rough area, and there's this road, it's called Rocky Street, and everyone knows in Johannesburg, you just don't go there. It's scum city. It's really bad. And we were like going down, there's like this rundown daycare center that looked like shit, like a murder house.
Yeah.
And just opposite on the fence, it was spray painted Boko Haram.
They're like the first thing I saw in the Street View was Boko Haram.
We were like,
unironically.
This is really bizarre. Yeah. Anyway.
Haley, thank you. Carol, the artist formerly known as Hell's Asylum, says, hey guys, just got back from vacation. Been catching up the last couple weeks. Hope you're doing well. For your next cheese taste, I suggest Havarti or even cream Havarti. We actually ate Havarti.
We had Havarti. Yeah, that was one of the things we had.
We love it.
It's so good.
And that's from Denmark as well.
It's so good.
I love Havarti cheese. Phil, the fake bricks and grass have me curious about your guess for what percentage of things people in their daily lives in China can perceive as a facade.
Yeah, it's tough to tell.
A large
amount, though.
Tacit Turn, thank you. Joshua Moolman, after the U.S. showed massive signs of weakness over Afghanistan, do you think China will take a gamble at this golden opportunity to attack Taiwan? Absolutely not.
We spoke about that, yeah.
Dovetail Zero, how does Mongolia view China and the CCP? Very negatively.
They don't like it at all. They took half their country.
And do Chinese consider Genghis Khan to be Chinese, and why? Yes, because they call the Yuan dynasty, which is actually the Mongolian empire that took over China. I'm not even joking you. The Chinese government claims that the Mongolian Empire was a Chinese dynasty.
Yeah, they do.
Not a joke. They actually will show a map of all of the Mongolian Empire and say this was once China.
Yeah.
You were conquered, bro.
Yeah, I mean, they want to claim everything. It's kind of crazy.
Awesome. Mark Davies, Wilson Edwards. Oh,
nice.
Wilson Edwards, the fake
exactly, the fake Swedish biologist. Yes.
Alexander Mora, the Taliban are friends with China. East Asia was always our ally. Oceania was always at war with Eurasia. That's the Avatar meme. Daniel Caven, do you think China will push the Uyghur people into Afghanistan or prefer to use them as free labor and maybe sell them to the Taliban as slaves? Could happen.
It's tough to know. Either way, it's going to be dastardly.
It's early days, yeah. Death Flash, thanks for the amazing and vital work y'all do. Cheers for my older brother Kyle getting married today. Congratulations to
Kyle. May it be a long and happy marriage.
Yeah.
That doesn't end.
Johan Collins says, how do people in China generally view Vietnam and Vietnamese people as lower class, lower race? That's just what's taught.
That's what I've come across as well, like just in Guangdong.
They look down on them, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, because they're the same people.
I mean, especially in the north, same as the tribes of Guangdong.
My wife and your wife both did that DNA test, and they had a significant amount of Vietnamese blood in them too.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's just what's they consider. It's horrible.
Yeah.
Moritz, and that's not everyone, obviously.
No, sure.
Moritz Strip Matter. Probably China will also buy a lot of the tech and military equipment left behind, and they will most certainly use it to copy again. This is a bloody disaster. Yeah. Marco Kane, thanks for fighting the good fight and exposing the games of the CCP and their leader. I won't say that. Jay Leo says, China compares the U.S.-Afghan case to Taiwan future, Taiwan has foreign troops, and when they leave, Aborigines will seize Taipei Taipei and take over Taiwan, with Taiwanese running after the foreign Air Force jet. Yeah.
No,
Very bad analogy.
Yeah.
Not from you, from them.
Yep.
And Jay Leo says, in addition, only 3 countries recognize the Taliban: Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, and the UAE. Great that China and Russia weren't one of them. Red Strip Matter says the U.S. Pacific Fleet is the strongest military force ever assembled in human history. The PLA will not be so reckless as to attempt that, or it will be the biggest loss of face since the Opium Wars. Yeah, I mean, they can't be that stupid.
I think if they do try it, it'll be a big mistake. Whatever happens, it's not going to be good for anyone. So if they do it, that they'll be responsible for a lot of deaths and a lot of misery.
Yeah. Zif Fodder says, please make green screen vids for meme creation on 4Reddit. All you would have to do is turn off the background, actually, and then people could do that.
Yeah, okay, I'll turn off the background.
Just for a split second.
Give us a second, let me find
it. And then people
it.
can freeze frame it. We can move around a little bit.
Oh, no, it doesn't work.
Because it's keyed. Well, actually, yeah. No, the black will be fine.
No, it won't. You try key.
Oh, yeah, because I'm wearing...
You try to do something with this. You'll see how tough it is.
Someone will do it.
It's tough.
We'll do it next time.
Anyway, look, we've got a black. We're in the void. Isn't this cool?
Ooh.
Anyway, sorry.
Anyway,
go back to Shanghai.
CIA says CCP's Taliban whiplash reminds me of the classic 1984 scene. Eurasia has always been our enemy.
Yes.
Has always been our ally. Wing083 says Taiwan's grass doesn't look spray painted. Taiwan has superior grass. Haha. And I agree. It is superior grass. They don't need to spray paint it.
No, and they have a lot of natural beauty, unlike mainland China. Unfortunately, obviously you get a lot of really good, but I'm saying around the cities and stuff you don't, because they went through that terrible famine and everyone had to just rip the bark down, and the trees, they had to use it for fire and for production and to eat and stuff. So there's not much left around the cities anyway.
Yeah. That Blasian Stormtrooper, welcome. Victor Washington, hello. Have a hearty lunch or supper on me. I would love to watch another collaboration between ADV Podcast and China Unscripted. Reference number 65 and 100. That's where we appeared on their show.
Yeah, thank you.
A humble suggestion for ADV Podcast, number 100, invite China Unscripted as your guest.
It's not a bad idea. Yeah, we will. Well, why not?
Zifutter says echo.
You're not going to get us with that again. That's not going
to
work.
We have people
twice.
on the inside.
Yeah, people are going to text us this time if there's an echo or not, so you can't fool us.
It shows you that they won because they actually made us waste our time getting people to watch for echoes now to text us.
Yeah. What was that woman?
You just got to go like this. And then I give them one of these because it's my heart. Hip hop. Tacit Turn says if CCP PLA saw Operation Valiant Shield, they'd soil themselves. Well, I think they do know about it. T Didmus. Still waiting patiently to see you guys on Timcast. Hey, if the cards align. Yeah, that's what they say. If the cards align, right?
The stars align. If the cards align. If you get a good hand, maybe.
Yeah. Frederick York, any updates on the lab leak theory?
Just read. It's in the news. You can read.
It's
there has been a big bombshell as far as that's concerned.
Yeah.
Like I said, one of the original scientists who went on the WHO fact-finding mission, actually, to a French newspaper or whatever, he revealed that he thinks it's actually probable.
Yeah, it's very likely.
Yeah, and he changed his tune, and he said why he changed his tune.
Yeah.
And he said that there was coercion from the Chinese government, and they kind of wanted everybody they could only say that there's a possibility of a lab leak theory if they said it was a very small possibility, and they weren't allowed to actually focus on it. So
why do people? The Wuma's in here. Why it is calling us two lying clowns? I don't want to call Wuma's up, but I always want to know where are the lies? I've yet to see the lies. Yeah. Number 2, why is a clown such an insult?
I don't understand.
It's fun.
It's a noble profession.
It's noble.
Yeah.
Honk honk.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll clown all day.
Make children laugh or scare them to death, whichever way.
It's both noble things to do.
Yeah. Just clowning around.
I just don't understand why it's always so offensive to them.
It's totally okay by me.
Yeah, I'll be a clown.
Yeah.
What would happen? Daniel
Clown
Orban
ZA and Clown86,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Daniel Ortman's Xiaocho86.
Yeah, Xiaocho ZA. Yeah.
What would happen if the U.S. government pushed China Uncensored's claim to the Scarborough Shoal with U.S. Navy support? China Uncensored claim. What?
I'm not sure. We'll have to look into that one.
Sorry. James Bootywolf. How long do you think the Taliban will tolerate an alliance with the CCP considering their Muslim slave labor. We covered that.
Yeah.
Alistair Gifilian, Laowhy86. That's
Good for you.
That's all you, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, do you love Jingjing? There's many meanings to that word.
Yeah, you got to look at what Jingjing actually means. It can mean more than one thing.
It can mean many things.
And you may have just set yourself up there for some pretty bad jokes.
Unless he likes that.
Maybe he likes Jingjing.
Yeah, that's fine. Tacit Turn, I'm thinking these guys need to go on Joe Rogan. We haven't heard that before.
We'd love to. Yeah.
Have they reached out? They certainly haven't.
No.
But any day now, which won't happen probably.
No.
Thanks, Joe. We're waiting for you. Crease, have you heard of the Caspian Report? Yes, we have. It's a YouTube channel with geopolitics. They did multiple takes on China's geopolitical goals towards 2030. It might interest you. Yeah, I saw it and I agree with most of it. Ellen S.
I haven't watched it. I'll take a look.
That's good stuff. Want to bet how long it will take the U.S. to ally with the Taliban to fight China this time? Lol.
Yeah, let's find out.
It's not completely out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Never said that the U.S. is completely benevolent, by the way.
No, of course not. They're responsible for a lot of nonsense, but at least we
know about it.
No, at least they're held to task.
Yeah.
You know that whole WMD thing in Iraq and stuff?
Yep.
Everybody talks about it because everybody condemns it. But when China does a similar move, nobody talks about it because nobody's allowed to condemn it. So when China does its WMD nonsense or equivalent,
whatever they do, yeah.
It's COVID or screw-ups or whatever, you can't criticize them and you can't talk about it. So that's something that's positive about the USA, is that they have to face up to their mistakes, whereas the Chinese government never has to face up to its mistakes. So
Right.
just bear that in mind, all you tankies out there.
Exactly. Frederick York says, who do you think is the most shameless of the CCP shills? The Jason guy is a pure psychopath for me.
Definitely.
Oh, hands down.
You think he's the most shameless?
No, hands down, the one that.
Oh yeah, no, hands down.
The one in that top left of the picture.
My stalker. He stalks you too now.
I was actually a friend of ours, Jordan Harbinger, put out a great podcast about exploring the minds of psychopaths. He had talked to a scientist that wrote a book on it. Yeah. So they actually studied and found a part of a brain that's actually different in actual psychopaths. You know when people say, you're a psychopath, not that. Like actual clinical psychopaths. And it's funny, when he was going through all the symptoms and all this stuff and like how to identify someone, how awful they can be.
Yeah.
You can't change a psychopath, right? You can't reform them.
No.
This guy, the shill that we're talking about, the one on the top left that we referred to earlier.
He who shall not be named.
He who shall, we can call him Dumb Shill.
Yes, Dumb Shill.
Dumb Shill quite literally hit every single scientific checkbox. And I was getting chills. I was driving my car, listening to this podcast, and Jordan Harbinger. When he did this, I was like, are they talking about him? Literally. It was insane.
Well, you have to be a psychopath to harass human rights activists and go after people, try to destroy people's lives and try to fabricate evidence and take things out of context to try and destroy people's lives.
And knowingly do that because it's just fun for them.
And, what do they deny genocide on behalf of an authoritarian government and all this other stuff knowingly? Because the guy's not stupid.
No, when you're going out and doxing and harassing human rights activists that get persecuted and hurt.
Yes.
I mean, that's
and
just
their families.
So fucked up.
Yeah.
You just have to be so fucked up.
The worst.
Anyway,
that's
absolutely, for Frederick York's question, absolutely the worst, hands down. Bartimaeus Carbulo 6684. Your thoughts on Putin backing Sela? It looks like Moscow doesn't want a China-backed Taliban. By the way, is it possible to go talk to TFI Global concerning China? I mean, hopefully. My thoughts. I don't have any thoughts on that. I'll have to look more into it. I
want to be on Wion, WION. There's this Indian lady. She's a presenter. She's always so spot on.
She's brutal.
She's brutal. I absolutely love watching her stuff because it's so funny.
Yeah.
And like all the haters, the Asian supremacist groups and stuff, they call her the female SerpentZA.
Really?
Yeah, they do.
The Indian woman?
Yeah, they do. Woman. They call her the female SerpentZA.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's so funny. But yeah, I love watching that stuff. Whenever there's there's that news segment that she always does, whatever it's called. But whenever she talks about China,
it's a bit extreme for me.
I know, but I love it because it's just so on the nose. You watch it and you're like, that's hilarious.
Yeah, they say stuff that a
lot
of people probably want
the Wuhan China virus is making a homecoming or whatever. I'm like
we would never go that.
That's a little insensitive there, but it's just funny to watch her brutality.
Palki is her name apparently. Palki.
Okay. Yeah, but absolutely. I love the way she presents
funny.
stuff. She says something, you're like, wow. Brutality. You know?
It's like, Palki Sharma is her name.
Yeah. Female SerpentZA, apparently.
You would do an interview with her, definitely.
I love
on your
that.
channel.
I'd love it.
You guys should collab.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Saptarshi Singh Gupta says, do you guys know any Tibetan dissidents? I've actually spoken to quite a few. Some of them reached out to me recently on social media, believe it or not. And they're a little disappointed because Xinjiang gets all the spotlight these days. But
I mean, it may seem a little unfair, but like no injustice should be overlooked. Injustice, I should say.
Sure.
Yeah.
Soggy Bread says, been watching since the Exploring China series. First time catching y'all live. Love what you do. Thanks for your insight into China and the CCP.
Thank you.
Vitorianness, thank you very much. Zero Fun, can we have a list of decadence laws? I can look them up, yeah.
Sure.
What would happen if a bunch of people made calls about all the decadence happening across Tier 1 and Tier 2 cities? Yeah, there'd be no China left. Will Chang says, thank you for sharing your lives and experiences so openly and honestly. Just want to show some support for you and your loved ones. Hope you both continue to find success in making a living and spreading the discussion in important topics regarding China. Thank you, Will.
And thank you for your generosity.
That's very generous, man. I appreciate that, Will. PB, was opening up of the 80s to 2012 just expanding the cage? Yeah, because that's in reference to China opening up. I mean, the doctrine and the constitution was always there for oppression.
You know that they're currently denying or not renewing passports.
Yeah, we're looking into that right now. We've had multiple people reach out and tell us, Chinese people reach out and tell us this. It's very
people
concerning.
trying to leave who can't because the government's refusing to renew their passports. And look, those are people reaching out to us. That's what we've heard from them.
Yeah,
we'll see. How true it is. Obviously, these people.
This is what Chairman Mao did in the Cultural Revolution. Some of these people that I've talked to are not even. I wouldn't even say they support what we say. No. Some of these people are actually just China supporters. They're not trying to run away. Yeah. They have to go other places. They have previous arrangements.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think some of them have like fiancés.
Yeah,
or
that
have
kind
like
of thing,
work or whatever in another country. And I think maybe China's trying to stop people from going away long term.
We've talked to over 10 people now where this has happened to. And that's pretty alarming. Again, still anecdotal. We want to get to a point where we can get some sort of government thing that says, hey, don't give passports out.
Sure.
Hi says, make sure you guys hit like. Yeah, hit like. Get the likes up. We don't know if it does anything, but it doesn't cost you anything. Hit it.
Yeah.
Smash it, destroy it.
No.
Oh, massage
just touch it gently.
Okay.
Yeah.
The like button is very sensitive.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Touch it gently, please.
This is getting dirty. Tacit Turn, could you create a tool list on your channels, especially regarding boycotting, divesting, and making an impact above and beyond mere discussions? Not a bad idea.
Yeah, definitely use Cultivate.
Yeah, Cultivate, definitely. Look them up.
It's a plugin for your browser where you can, when you're buying on Amazon, it'll tell you if it is a Chinese-made product or if it's not.
Yeah, or where it's from.
Yeah, where it's from. Yeah.
Ryan Jones, thanks for
exposing.
Support
Taiwanese, made in Taiwan.
Agreed.
Made in Taiwan products are great, by the way.
They are very good.
Think about your Asus Republic of Gamers, Acer. Oh, sorry, no, Asus.
Asus is better now.
Junk.
That's better.
Acer, yeah.
It's better now.
It's better.
Yeah.
Asus is the one you want.
No, other way around.
Yeah. No, it's not. Yeah. Asus is the good one. Acer.
Oh, you said Asus is the good one. Yes. Yeah, I'm agreeing with you.
Yeah, Acer is the cheapy,
It's better now.
It's better now, but Asus Republic of Gamers.
I had a real bad Acer laptop.
Acer's not good.
Shit the brick. This guy in Pakistan helped me get it back together. There's some weird forum. He actually sent me some weird key combination and brought it back to life. I owe you my life.
Yeah.
That guy.
But Republic of Gamers stuff. There's a lot of good stuff that comes out of Taiwan. Never mind the fact that they're the most advanced chip manufacturers in the world. So everything that it's
kind of important.
Use of any significance has something to do with Taiwan. Support Taiwan products. They're fantastic.
Agreed. Ryan Jones says, thank you for exposing propaganda, especially on U.S. TikTok. Well, I'm banned right now, but you better believe I'm going to come hard.
Yeah. What?
I'm going to come...
No, I'm going to go after them really.
I'm going to go after them very vigilantly.
Yeah, with a lot of...
Fervor.
There we go. Jeez, that sounded terrible.
I'm going to take a week away from the subreddit. I'm going to not look at the subreddit for a week.
If someone doesn't make something out of that.
No, do not do that. Ranker.com has I'm so embarrassed right now. Yeah. Ranker.com has a list of famous Ryan needs updating. Famous Ryans. Ranker.com, if anyone goes in there, definitely add Ryan Jinping.
Yeah, exactly.
Ryan
Ryan
Shi.
Yeah, Ryan Shi.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Gosh darn it. Okay.
There we go.
Return to Orc Monkey. Agree to disagree, Winston. I still think you're doing 100% vital work in exposing the CCP. So continue to have this idiot support. You're not an idiot.
No,
Orc
not at
Monkey,
all,
we
mate.
love you.
No.
Mike says, I live in
It's the
Ryan.
beauty of America, you can be your own idiot. And I'm my own idiot too.
Ryan says, I live in Ryan Crest. You didn't write she, you wrote sh.
Yeah, should means city.
XI is she, not SHI. And I have to disagree. The architecture is very nice. We fill the walls with corn cobs and glass bottles for environmental stability. That's great. A. Watson says, thanks for enlightening us each week. Can't wait for Fridays. Also, thanks for mentioning Surviving Africa. Entertaining education about Winston's family.
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely check out that channel. His dad has a YouTube channel. It's really good.
If you enjoy African adventures, elephants, lions, all that kind of stuff, and escaping death, and
it's called Surviving Africa.
Yeah, my old man has a lot of interesting stories, and I grew up with them. He'd tell me those instead of bedtime stories, and of course, I went through some of those myself. So yeah, if you have a chance, go take a look.
PB says, C-Milk, empty our pockets to prove you ain't a pharma dude. I actually have nothing in my pocket. I don't do that anymore. That was in China, when we were traveling around.
I'll agree. He doesn't do that anymore. He's not Pharma Boy anymore.
No, I have no need to be. I can go to my bathroom in the office and literally grab a Tylenol.
Yeah, exactly. He's got his pharma cabinet,
Well,
yeah.
The Blasian Stormtrooper, Ryan has, I can never mind.
Okay.
Agoraphobic Squirrel, thank you very much. Retrig 202, thank you. Burger Dan, here's a $5 for the amazing high note by Laowhy during the Boko Haram song.
Oh, yeah.
We were surprised no one made a parody of that.
Yeah.
We sing Boko Haram all the time.
Whenever we're riding on these long road trips in China specifically, we just, because you're bored, you're on the road, and we just make these really stupid
that was one of them,
songs, Yeah, and we'd translate songs into Chinese.
We've made so many Chinese songs out of English songs. We literally translate them.
And it's like, 说我说你说我们在一起自然地 that kind of thing. It's just, you come up with this crap in your mind.
We could have albums
and we think we're really smart, and then we try to say it to a Chinese person, like, what the hell are you saying?
Well, they understand if they're like this.
That doesn't make sense.
We think we're geniuses in our helmets.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Boko Haram was one of those.
Yeah, exactly.
Cayman L, how do you guys put up with each other in the duo? I have best friends, but sometimes I cannot stand them. For Winston's, isn't he sometimes a bit too much? Who's he?
I don't know who he is. Dude, I don't know how we managed to pull it off.
We're just friends.
And we have disagreements, but we always work it out. That's just what friends do, man.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Off topic from VL999. Have you seen Lauren Southern's documentary Borderlands, Winston? What is your take on land being stolen from white farmers?
I have not seen Borderlands, but there is a big issue happening with white farmers in South Africa. It is true. It is targeted. There's some terrible murders and genocide going on there. And I know because it affects me personally. My parents owning a farm there. And it's not a joke. But I'll get into that in tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm actually going to have a live stream to wrap up. I don't know if anyone follows my channel. I interviewed my mother and my father about a massive home invasion that we had that really changed my life. I'm going to wrap it all up tomorrow and tell you some more of my experiences in South Africa. It'll be kind of the end of all the South African stuff for a while, and I'll go back to focusing on China. So you can join me tomorrow for a live stream. We'll discuss all that stuff there.
Venus Supreme, hey guys. Someone said we should kiss. That's not gonna happen.
We're not that kind of.
No, we're not cam girls.
No, we're not that kind of friends or whatever.
How does the getting in touch with the social media thing work? You'll figure out a way. We don't like to say the freaking emails and stuff you spam all the time. You'll figure it out. Usually through Patreon, but I don't like to say that because I don't want to say, oh, you have to be on Patreon to contact us. No. But it's the easiest way to get a hold of us.
Just tweet at us and stuff
like
that.
Yeah, you can do that kind of stuff. Or Instagram DMs, that kind of stuff.
You'll eventually get through.
Wing083, do your Chinese in-laws, when they were growing up, did they watch TV shows? No. My grandfather grew up in the 1930s and 40s and always mentioned watching Westerns. Is there a Chinese equivalent? They didn't have my father-in-law got a TV in the early 90s for the first time. Singapore Hi says clown milk.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Because we're proud.
Sure.
Gary is a good friend of ours.
Yep.
Played golf in China. Nice courses and female caddies. Smog over the Dongguan golf course is no joke. Yep. I came back with a bad cough. Do you take R&B? What's up, Gary?
Nice.
Good to hear from you, man.
I'll never forget that time that Gary was with us and he
Yeah,
went
we were hanging
dancing
out.
with the eyes.
Yeah, in Shenzhen.
And he was obviously put too much effort into it, and he like really messed up his ankle or his ligament or something like that.
Yeah.
That was it's interesting times.
He was raring to go.
But Gary's a great guy. So
awesome.
happy to see you here on the channel, man.
Yeah, we'll hang out soon. PB arriving hard with great fervor. Yes, because I said coming hard.
Yeah.
I wish I didn't say that.
No.
Tommy
I
Key
wish
07. Russian components, American components, all made in Taiwan. Lev and Armageddon. Pull me finger. Watched for a long time. This is the first time I was able to donate anything.
Thank you.
Please be safe, you beautiful mad lads.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
And Return to Orc Monkey says, added Ryan Jinping to famous people named Ryan on Ranker. He's currently ranked number 99. While you sign up, I'm looking that up.
Okay. Yeah, so that's it, guys. What a fantastic show. It was so nice to once again engage with all of you in this very important conversation that we have every week. We certainly hope that we've helped enlighten you a little bit and shine a light on some of the nonsense that's going on with regards to the CCP. We are very happy to see a bit of a shift these days.
Yeah.
We're starting to see people take the threat of the Chinese Communist Party a little bit more seriously.
Right.
Again, when we talk about all these different topics, we're talking about the government of China, not the Chinese people.
Correct.
Of course, you know, we have close ties to many Chinese people. Never mind the fact that we're both married to Chinese people, have half Chinese daughters, have Chinese family. Massive amounts of friends in Taiwan and Singapore and everywhere else in the world where you get ethnically Chinese people. It's the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party. They're a bastard, and they really are trying to pull a number on the world right now. We have to watch them very, very closely. And you might not think that you're affected by them, but you are. Through your social media, through the television, through Hollywood movies even, the way the Chinese Communist Party manipulates what they can and can't say and what they should and shouldn't do. Everybody's affected, and we need to stop this. We should not have one government affecting every single part of our life.
Correct.
And it's, anyway, we'll keep you up to date. And that's why it's so freaking important that you join us and have this discussion with us every week. Oh, he is. He's number 99. Someone needs to put his...
Yeah, he needs a photo.
But it needs to be Ryan Shi.
It's being upvoted. It needs to be Ryan Shi. So let me find you.
Because Ryan, Jim, you know how Chinese...
Orc Monkey. Number one, you probably should remove your name on there.
Why?
Orc Monkey left his own real name on there.
Well, don't say that.
I mean, it's gone now.
It's gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, put Shi. Ryan Shi.
It's Ryan Shi.
Not Ryan Jinping.
You know, because the way Chinese names work is it's the surname first and then the name. So it would be Ryan Shi.
Correct.
Cool.
Anyway, thanks for the new members that have just joined.
Yeah,
and
thank you.
Turn. Okay, that's it.
All right, guys, we're done for this time, for this week. We can't wait to see you in the next one. Please join me tomorrow at 2 p.m. PST for a live stream on the SerpentZA channel. And don't forget to check out C-Milk's video that he put out about Afghanistan. We covered it today, just not nearly as in-depth as he did in his video. And it's definitely worth a watch.
Links down below.
Yeah. Can't wait to see you in the next one. And guess what? This time, I'm not going to cut myself off. Right? Let's count this down.
So. Yeah.
5,
4,